on, friends. We'll just see if we can get that a little situated. A little light there. Hello. And a little light here. Let's just see how we're doing here. Reg, please get in your bucket, buddy. Please get in your bucket. Come on. Get in the bucket. Hi, friends. Hello. Hi. How are you? I'm waiting for me to see me. Hello. There we are. Hi, friends. Good morning. Happy Saturday. Oh my gosh. Does it seem like it's been forever? If it does, it's because it has been. It seems like forever and a day, right? It's been a bit. I've been traveling quite a bit. Nick and I went on a grand adventure for our 30th anniversary, but I'll talk about that in a bit. Anyhow, as I'm cleaning my glasses that are still filthy from, I won't even tell you how long it's been. Anyhow, welcome. If we have not met before, my name is Lael Kankar. I have a business called Lael by Mail. When I'm not traveling, we're here on Saturday mornings and we do what I like to call creative listing. Basically a couple of days before we get together, I am publishing a couple of different listing topics on my blog at laelbymail.com. And when we get together and do our creative listing, we are taking those listing topics, at least I am, and then I am making a list. But I'm doing it creatively. I am playing with lots of different products, stamps, stickers, washi, die cuts, paper, what have you. Many of the products that we use are my own branded Lael by Mail products. You can always see what we are using in the, there's a link in the description box to the video that says what I'm using. That will take you to a page on the website and then you can see and purchase anything I'm using that you are interested in. There is also a link there towards the top with today's list topics. So if you have missed those and don't want to wait, you can click that link in the description box of the video and see today's list topics. So welcome. Oh my gosh, it has been forever, yes. Let me check the chat and let's see who's here. And then we will get chatting and all kinds of things. I have to forewarn you, the jet lag is real, my friends. We started our travels home on Wednesday the 20th and 32 hours later we arrived home. So I am so upside down. Jet lag is real. Thursday night, woke up at 3 and I was up for the day, 3 a.m. Last night, you'll just know. Last night, woke up at 1 a.m. and up for the day. So, I think tonight I might have to take a sleeping pill because I just can't keep this up. But, so I just have to forewarn you, if things get a little goofy today, maybe a little bit goofier than normal, then that is why. But, of course we had to do this because I missed this. Missed you guys and missed this. So let me check in the chat. We'll see who's here. If you're watching live and want to pop in the chat and say hello, I'd love for you to do that because then we all know that you're here. Pop in, let us know if you want to tell us your name. If you want to tell us your name, out the window, where you're from, whatever you'd like to say, pop in and say hello. I would love that. If you are watching the replay, welcome to as well. You can still say hello. You just need to do that in the comments instead of the chat because the chat is only available when we are live. All right, let me take out the chat. Let's see. We have, hello, Cindy Hollenbeck with her purple hearts. Hi, Jackie. Sarah is ready to list on a scorching hot day in LA. You made it right. A scorching hot day in LA. Yeah, stay cool, right? Hello, Linda May. Nice to see you. Linda May said, finally made a live. Nice to have you here. Joe Disney fan. She said, it's been a while since you could join a live. She could join a live. Glad to catch you all. Glad to have you here. Joe Disney fan. Hi, Carrie. Jackie said, 94 degrees, cloudy with humidity in Henderson. It is, oh my gosh, I don't even know what it is here today. The day before we got home was 106 here in kind of northern Utah, which is kind of hot, right? But it's a dry heat, so not as bad as it could be. Hello, Joy. Happy birthday, Lael. Thank you. Yes, my birthday was Wednesday. So Wednesday was a pretty spectacular birthday. Started out the day with a game drive. We were on safari in South Africa, celebrating our 30th anniversary. So that was a huge bucket list trip. So yes, we started the day with the game drive, and I don't know. I know for certain I can say that I've never started my birthday with the game drive. So that was pretty awesome. And then we began our travels, the 32 hours. But it was what we saw was amazing. So it made all the travel worth it. Hello, honey, in the other room. Nick's in the other room. Good morning, Marilee. Nice to see you. You have your house to yourself today, which means Lael on the big screen. Oh my gosh. I don't know if I like that, Lael on the big screen. Hi, Cherie. Carrie said she'll be driving in the car, but listening as she drives, headed to Spokane for a concert. Carrie, what concert? Who are you seeing? Hello, Shannon. Carla's here. Joe, Disney fan kids, can't wait to hear about the trip. Pictures were great. You guys have so many pictures. I just need to, I'll continue posting a little bit, in the Lael by Mail Facebook group. I don't want to inundate, you all with all the things, but, yeah, it was pretty spectacular. Sarah, hello. Thank you for the birthday wishes. Cherie said it's rainy and humid in Atlanta. Oh gosh, yeah, I'm sure rainy and humid. Atlanta, right? Hotlanta and humidity. Stay cool. Hi, Carla from Arkansas. I'm glad to be back as well, Shannon. It's always fun to travel, but sometimes, what's going on there? Well, it's always good to come home. And I love to travel. I have the travel bug. I've had the travel bug my entire life, but it's definitely always nice to come home too. Good morning, Amy. Amy is here joining us. Amy is my right hand. Left hand, big toe, all the things. Sometimes we joke she's the Robin to my Batman, and so many of I couldn't even say so many things. All the things. She is so involved in all the things, and I couldn't do what I do without her. So Amy, thank you for joining us. Amy, as I am working, if you are watching live, as I'm using products, she will be making it really easy for you to find them because she will drop links in the chat to those products. Hello, Diane. Nice to see you. Danielle, Debbie. It's so nice to have all the D's together there, right? Yeah, Reggie. He's in his bucket, so hopefully he'll stay there. Patricia, hello. Hi, Joe. Thank you. Welcome back. Patty, hello. Martine, nice to see you from the Netherlands. Always fun to have our international friends with us. Hello, Lana Lake. Color, thank you. It's a bright one. Yes, it's a bright one. And I always say in my real life, this is real life, but you know what I mean? Way more muted. Navies and blacks and tans and things like that. But when you're on camera and when I'm teaching in person, it's just got to be bright. Otherwise, it's just blah, right? Nobody wants to watch blah. Good morning, Laura. This is your first time listening. Well, Laura, welcome to you. You're in for a treat. We have a lot of fun here, so I'm glad that you are here to list with us. Okay, Susie, good morning. Let's see. Joe Disney fan, thank you. She said, you look healthy and rested. Not that you ever looked bad before. I know what you mean. Thank you. I appreciate that. I should not look rested. I have zero reason to look rested. I had like 2 hours of sleep, 3 hours of sleep last night. So maybe it's caffeine. Maybe. Hi, Terry. Headed to the cabin. Oh, that's so fun. You guys enjoy yourselves. Justine, hello. Driving through the clouds. That sounds amazing. Hello, Joy. Yes, we did have a good time. Thank you. And I am glad to be back as well. Heather Jackson, oh, you're so sweet. She said, happy birthday, beautiful soul. Thank you, Heather. That is so sweet. Hello, Scrapbook Sister. Nice to see you. Carrie. Hello. Ashley T from East Tennessee. I tell you, this is going to be a little goofy today, just the lack of sleep. So just know. Joe Disney fan is working on some engagement cards, friends. So if you haven't joined us before, all kinds of things happen. I work on my list, but there are people here working on all different kinds of things. Some people are driving, some people are working, some people are crafting, maybe listing with us. They may be working on other things. I know sometimes you just like to have someone with you in the house or with you at work or in the car, and if I can be that for you, then I'm happy to be that for you. Hello, Kathy from Central West Virginia. Erica Tucker. Oh, nice. Only 76 where you are in Raleigh. You guys, thank you for all the birthday wishes. Seriously, thank you. Gigi, hello, Gigi. Let's see. I just want to make sure to give everybody in the chat before we continue. Hello, Marianne. Nice to see you. Carrie, that sounds amazing. Carrie is seeing Gin Blossoms, Blues Traveler, and Spin Doctors. I bet that's a great concert. You have fun. Kathy, it's 109 in Phoenix. Oh, goodness, that's warm. Stay inside, right? Stay inside. Marion is seeing John Batiste in Washington. The Keys, right? Yes, he seems incredibly talented. So enjoy that. Now I want to go to a concert. Susan, hello. Nice to see you from Atlanta. Okay, friends. And Karen, good morning, good morning. Elizabeth, good morning from West Virginia. All right, friends. I feel like I don't know, the camera's really weird today. Anyhow, good morning to you. So fun to have you here. So let's just talk about a couple of housekeeping items for a minute. Today is Saturday, August 23rd. So in 2 short days, 2 sleeps, right? Monday, August 25th at 4 p.m. Pacific time. You might want to come back here to my little YouTube channel for that. That is when my brand new paper crafting collection, Dear December, goes live. And I will be here on my YouTube channel doing a full unboxing reveal so you can see all of the amazing products that we have worked so hard on. Paper, it's right over there. It's all set up right over there. Paper and stickers and die cuts and stamps and dies and some really cool die cut, or excuse me, not die cut files, like silhouette, you know, those kind of files. I'm just drawing a blank. So many fun things to share with you on Monday at 4 o'clock Pacific time on the 25th. You will also see a sneak peek at my 12th annual December Documented Mini Book Project Kit. So it will go for pre-order at the same time. But all of Dear December is in stock with the exception of one little thing. I'll talk about that when I do the unboxing. So if you are free on Monday, August 25th at 4 p.m., I would love to have you join us. What the heck is going on? Can you see that? My camera... Yeah, okay, hold on. I gotta fix this. Just so you know, I have a dress on, so it could go pretty far before it got all weird. Hang tight. Uh-oh. Goodness gracious. Great balls of fire. Hang on. Sorry about that. Are we better there? Yeah, I don't know. It's like some little gremlins were messing with my camera when it was put away while I was gone. All right. Are we good? I think we're good. Okay. Yeah, Kathy, 12th annual December Documented Mini Book Project Kit. Of course, I'm using Dear December. And also, this is the, 19th year. I think it's the 19th year I've done that project for myself, which is crazy. I need a little sip of caffeine here, okay? And then we will talk about a couple more housekeeping things, and then we will play, all right? We got to get the caffeine in. All right, so that was the biggest housekeeping item we needed to talk about. The next thing, also on Monday, call me crazy because we're headed out of town again next weekend, so have to kind of bundle some things in for next week. Also on Monday, after the live at 5:30 Pacific time, is the class for the September setup for the Summer Fall Season Pass kit. All right, so if you purchase the Summer Fall Season Pass kit, watch for a reminder email to go out later today about class for the September setup of your Traveler's Notebook as part of that kit. That's Monday. Tuesday, I probably should have my calendar in front of me. Oh, I know, Tuesday's a neighbor thing. So Wednesday, we are listing again. So that would be the 27th. Wednesday, August 27th, we'll also be here listing again because we will not be listing next Saturday because Labor Day weekend, I will be out of town. All right, so just some housekeeping items. I'll just also throw a couple more things out there. First weekish in September will be the release of the Fall Holiday Season Pass Kit. So watch for that. And then mid-September September 15th is the September stamp and die release. So lots of fun things coming. Easiest way to kind of keep up to what is going on is to subscribe to my emails. So go to lailbymail.com. You'll sit there for 5 or 10 seconds, and then a little box will pop up and say, hey, do you want to receive our emails? You put your email in, it'll be good. All right, so before I rotate the camera, one last thing. If you are here, that doesn't make any sense. If you're not here, you wouldn't. Yeah, anyhow. I love a thumbs up. If you want to follow too here on YouTube, that would be awesome. Thumbs up, but it's super, super helpful. All right. So while we are live today, I will be doing, I think, 2 live giveaways. I'm going to add one more here. 2 live giveaways. We'll also do 1 after party giveaway. So always like to do giveaways, so just stay tuned, and we'll talk about that as we get to them. Okay? Okay. Hello, Miss L. Carrie's excited for Dear December. Yeah, Reggie says he didn't do it. He probably did. He's probably been in here messing with all the things, right? Because I think it's trying to fall again. Terry said, if you are new here, I highly suggest checking out the season pass kits. They are loaded with goodness and goodies. Thank you, Terry. I will also be sending out a couple of surveys about season pass. I'll be sending out a survey to everybody on my email list, just kind of asking about season pass. And then I'll also be sending out a separate survey to anyone that has purchased season pass this year, whether you purchased it once, whether you purchased all 3 and then the 4th one, whatever it is. I'm looking at doing some things a little bit differently for 2026. I would love to get some input. I will tell you, I'm looking at 2 different printouts on my desk. One is all of the artwork, not the paper yet, all the die cuts for the winter spring season pass for 2026. And then also the artwork for what's going to be an amazingly spectacular 2026 year-end review project kit. So lots of great things coming down the line. It's starting to sink again, so I'm just going to do this. We're going to be looking at my toes in a minute here. I am going to rotate the camera and then we'll get started. Okay, let's just do that. Let's just do that right now. And thank you for saying that, Terry. I so appreciate that. All right, let's try that. Let's get us spun around here. Yeah, I don't know what the heck's gone on. Okay, let me just tighten that up a bit. Look at like that. All right, let's turn off the overhead lights. Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to turn the fan off with the overhead lights. It is roasty toasty outside. I think we're gonna be in for like another 100 today. But again, it's a dry heat, so I can't complain. Hello, Deborah, nice to see you. Deborah said, good morning, Lael. I hope you had a fantastic trip. We are here on the couch with coffee, taking it easy this morning, finishing my 2024 Halloween mini before getting ready for 2025. Hello, Deborah. And I hope when you say we, that means Joshua is with you. So if he is, hello, Joshua. And if he's not, please pass on my hellos to him. All right. Okay, friends. Hello, Julie from California. Carrie said, good grief, you've been busy. So Carrie, there's a whole team, and I'm so excited to say that, but there's a whole team. Amy, I have some amazing designers. Amy kind of keeps all the balls juggling in the air and keeps me on track these days with the deadlines. I've got a couple of amazing designers that I work with, and then of course Denise and Lily, who do all the order picking and packing and all of that. All the kitting, and then the amazing design team that just takes a lot of the product and makes it look so good. So it's definitely a village, for sure, for sure. All right, so that's funny. Amy said until the balls hit her in the head. That doesn't happen often. That doesn't happen often. All right, so let's take a look at the list that we did when we were together last. Now I've got to remember because, oh gosh, we were together last, you guys, 3 weeks ago. It was August 2nd. That's crazy. All right. So the list that we did, I'm like, what did we do? Okay. Starting out with this one. This one is called About Last Month. It was for the month of July. This is a list that we have been doing for the last 5 years, every month for the last 5 years, which means I have 60 of these. I can go back 5 years and tell you exactly what I was doing, let's say in December of 2020, because like I said, I've been doing this every month for the last 5 years. I have not missed 1 month. Whole idea behind About Last Month is that you're pairing photos with just a list, that's all, of what you did for the month. Super easy. I come out with a new stamp set for the year. I'm always using that same stamp set for the entire year. And I pretty much am following really roughly the same format, which means it's very easy to do. It is very approachable. It is a very easy way to do your memory keeping and to stay caught up. I always call it a guilt-free. Guilt-free because I'm not behind. Now, not to say I'm not all caught up in all of my memory keeping, but I can say I am caught up because I at least have this level done every month for the last 60 months. So about last month, I used some products from the, oh my gosh, I talked about this before. I always want to call this collection Barely Buzzed because that is a local cheese that we have here in Utah that is really good. It's kind of crusted with espresso, but it's not Barely Buzzed. It's Buzz, I don't know, what is it called? Buzz something or other. It's $49 in market. Botanical Buzz, there we go. So used a couple of rub-ons and some chipboard and some laser cuts from the Botanical Buzz collection from 49 in market. All right, so that was one of our lists. The second list is another list that we've been doing on a monthly basis. We've been doing this since December of 2024. And this one is glimmers. Jillian, I just saw your question. I'll answer that in one sec here. This one is called glimmers. So the whole idea behind glimmers is that you just keep an eye out for kind of those everyday little sparks of joy. Maybe you see a butterfly, maybe you see a rainbow, maybe your best friend calls you. Maybe you're at the grocery store and someone smiles and says, "You look beautiful today," and it's someone that you don't even know. Just those little things that give you a little spark of joy, and those are glimmers. So with this one, I did a glimmers list about our trip to Hawaii last month. Now, this was a business trip for Nick, so it's not all fun and games, although it was fun and games for me. I just get the benefit of his business trip. So did a full photo. And then added a rub-on. So if you have ever looked at photos and seen something like this, where someone, it looks like, has printed directly on the photo and you're like, how do I do that? I wish I had those like mad Photoshop skills so I knew how to do that. You don't have to have that. That's a rub-on. So we can make things a little bit less complicated by, in this case, just applying a rub-on to the top of a photo. And that is from the Summer Stories rub-ons, also from 49 Market. And then did a little stamping over here as I was writing my glimmers list. I used stamps from the Glimmers stamp set and the Glimmers 2 stamp set. So if you're like, glimmers, I'm not quite sure, can you give me a little example? Here are a couple of examples. The small birds with bright red heads that reminded me of cardinals. So we saw those on a couple times on that trip, and it was just, I saw them, I thought, that's so beautiful. So just this little spark of joy, right? The nice thing about glimmers is that you get to decide what is meaningful to you, right? What sparks joy to you? A little bird with a bright red head might spark joy to me, and maybe you have a fear of birds, so it definitely wouldn't spark joy to you, right? So just kind of a fun way to look out for those kind of things. And then if you're looking out for them, making a list of them. I think I just saw my bestie, Vicky Booten here. Let me see. Vicky, hello. So nice to see you, my friend. Carrie, I will also, okay, let's do this. Let me answer a couple of questions that have come up as I've been speaking. Jillian asked a question. Do you have a release date for the newest idea book? So idea books, I started doing idea books. We released the first idea book in May of 2023. The whole idea behind the idea books is that you have a book. This is the first one, for example. This was released in 2023, and it was all of the lists that we did during our creative listing sessions from 2020, 2021, and 2022. So the idea behind this, it is an idea book. It has a ton of lists that I've done live over the last, in this case, 2020 to 2023. So you have a visual to give you some ideas, but, and this is where I think the power of the idea book comes into play. You have a little link here, right? You have a link, and then you have a little timestamp. When you purchase an idea book, you automatically receive an email that sends you the digital version of the idea book as well. So let's say you wanted to kind of see how I did this list. And there's a little bit kind of an interactive thing going on here. And you're like, I'd really like to see what she did there. So in the digital version of the idea book, you pull up this page That link in the digital version is a hyperlink. It's hot, meaning you can click on it. It will take you to this listing session. You fast forward to the 1 hour, 43-minute mark, and that is where I start making that list. All right. So there are 3 idea books so far. That's the original. In 2024, we did the second one, which was all the lists from 2023. And in 2025, we released the 3rd idea book, all of the lists from 2024. So Jillian, to answer your question, we always release the idea book for the prior year in the spring of the following year. So the next idea book will be released, volume 4 will be released in March of 2026. And that will be all of the lists that we created during 2025. So they're always, I won't say they're a year behind, but because the idea books run for a full year, we need to wait till the next year before the new one comes out, if that makes sense. And if you're like, what is she even talking about? I think Amy, if she hasn't already, will link to the idea books in the chat, or you can go to laylebymail.com and search for idea book. I will tell you, some of you have been talking about this for a while, so this is something that I had Denise and Lily do for me while I was gone. My personal idea books, I had them unbind them and then put them on little rings here. So a little bit easier to maneuver and work with, but that's not how they come. They come bound like that, and then use them as you like. All right. So then Carrie asked about season pass. Let me do this. Let me keep going for a little bit, Carrie, and then I will circle back to season pass and we'll talk about season pass for a moment. Good morning, Gerda Gray. Lots of chat about rub-ons. Yes, we love the rub-ons. So Karen said, hey, Lael, maybe include a QR code for this also. Here's the deal. When it comes to a QR code, we thought about that. We actually, Amy and I talked about it quite a bit for the first idea book and decided not to do a QR code for each list because I think most people are not watching on their phone. I think most people, when they are looking for inspiration, are maybe on a computer or on a tablet. Also, then we were wrestling with where to put a QR code for each and every list in the book. So something we've thought about, but that's kind of a little behind the scenes about why we decided not to include QR codes. All right. Okay, Zen Girl said, keep talking. I need to clean a little before I get to play. All right, so that was our second list that we did last week, Glimmers. And the 3rd list is Focus. So this is an update on a list that I did in January-ish, beginning of each year. For the last, I think this was the 4th year, I make a list of things that I'd like to focus on for the year. The first couple of years I did that, I just made the list at the beginning of the year and that was pretty much it. And after the first 2 years, I thought, you know what, I need some people to help hold me accountable. So I said, we will do a focus list at the beginning of the year, things that we'd like to focus on. And then periodically, a couple of times throughout the year, we will do an update on that list. So that kind of holds me accountable because I know I've got to sit here with you guys and say, this is how I'm doing on my things I was focusing on. But I think it also helps you guys feel maybe a little bit more accountable too if you've been following along and you've been doing a focus list. So anyhow, this was our 3rd list when we were together last, and this one I used some of the products from Simple Stories Fun Times, the Simple Stories Fun Times collection. So that was our 3rd list. All righty. So Amy, all right. So this is what happens with the idea books. After they're available for 6 months, we make the physical version available to purchase digitally. When you purchase the when you purchase the physical version, you always automatically get the digital email to you. I do make digital version available when I release the physical version, but I only do that for international friends for the first 6 months. So technically, volume 3 is only available digitally until October. Wait, March, April, May, June, July, August. Wait, March, April, May, June, July, August, September. Guess what? Okay, we're a little bit early, but you can go ahead and purchase it now. Even though it still says it's only available internationally, we're close enough. So it won't prevent you. If you're looking for that digitally, it won't prevent you from doing it. And then, Amy, if you will, and Amy, actually, if you just want to remove the part that says available for internationals only, we're close enough. So, okay, here we go. Let's move on to our first list. And Carrie, don't let me forget. I will circle back and do a little bit of an explanation on season pass at some point. All right, our first list, and I need to get a fan. It is hotter than the hubs of you know what in here. So a fan is necessary. So hey, give me 1 sec while I just plug this in. Woo! I'll be glistening. You're gonna see me in a bit. I'll be glistening at the end of our listing session today. You'll be like, wow, was she working out? No, just my own personal summer all the time. Okay. Alrighty. I should have known. I should have turned that on earlier. Okay. Thank you, Amy. All right. So our first list for today is This Is Us. So, we've done a This Is Us list the last maybe 2 years, I want to say. The whole idea behind This Is Us is you make a list of things about us, whoever us is. This is the Volume 3 idea book, so the one that was released this year. I have turned to the This Is Us chapter, and I actually have a couple of different lists to give you an idea here. So This Is Us, this was a list that I did about Nick and I. We'd been married 29 years as of 2024, so just kind of did a little photo, and then a list of kind of what makes us us. I also did, if you're like, man, I don't really have a relationship like that, or I don't want to, make a list like that, you could also do the same thing with the friendship. So that is a list I did last summer, a friendship list with Vicki Booten. So just kind of talked a little bit in my list about our friendship, right? This is us. So that's one for our first list that we're starting out with today. This is us. It's actually kind of a little bit of a spin on a list that we did a couple weeks back. This Is Me list. So This Is Me list is a list that I've also been doing the last, I don't know, maybe 4 years. And it's just a good way to, on a yearly basis, just kind of describe yourself, but in a really easy, approachable format, because you're just making a list, right? You're not having to be Ernest Hemingway. You're not, writing an essay and then proofreading it and making sure it sounds very eloquent, although it's a little bit easier these days with ChatGPT and or AI, right? But making a list a lot easier, I think. So our first list, This Is Us. I have pulled some product that you see out here. I am using product from the Bo Bunny Colorful Story Collection. I am so behind you guys in doing some of my What's New Wednesday videos. So I don't know, this has been out probably 4 or 5 months and I haven't even showed it. So I'm using some of the product from the collection today, and Amy will pop a link to that into the chat. And if you're not watching live, you can just go to lailbymail.com and click on what I'm using and you'll see it. The basis of this list is the This Is Us stamp set, and that is a 6x8 stamp set. This one has been out for a couple of years. So this is the stamp set I will be using to kind of help to put my list together. I think now might be a good time to also talk about our first giveaway. Joe, did I also say you can make a This Is Me list? Absolutely, right? This is me. We did a couple weeks back. This is me. This is us. Now, some people do a This Is Me list, but not necessarily about themselves. So if you have kids, grandkids, nieces and nephews, littles, friends, and you want to do a This Is Me about them, that could be another fun thing to do. I've even done a This Is Me list kind of about the cat, right? So it can be focused on you or it can be focused on someone else in your life. This is me, this is us. If you are looking at This Is Us and you're like, yeah, I don't really want to do that kind of list, you can always take any of the list topics and spin them, turn them on their head, and make them work for you. So that would be an idea. If you don't want to do a This Is Us, then maybe consider a This Is Me. Let me grab my trimmer here. All right. So, oh yeah, I was talking about a giveaway, wasn't I? Well, let's talk about the giveaway. Why don't we? Joy said, I want to do a This Is Us about my work besties. See that? What a great idea, right? You could also do one maybe about your family. That might be kind of fun. Friendships, different things like that. Oh, yes. Starting with the photo. All right. That is a photo that Nick and I took. We have been married 30 years last May, this year. 2025, May 2025 was our 30th year. And so that is a photo from a trip that we were on back in May. And I thought that'd be a fun photo to use. So that will be the photo that I am working with. That is printed on a 4x6. So that is 4x6. But I sized my photo to 3.5 by 4.5, just so it wasn't going to kind of take up so much of the page. So let me go ahead and trim this first. Thank you. Congratulations on 30 years, Justine said. Thank you. Thank you. Who took the photo? That is a selfie, Kathy. Nick did. I always make Nick take our selfie photos because he has a longer arm. But yeah, that's a little selfie. I've got so many selfie photos of the two of us. All right. There we go. So I just trimmed off that little excess from that 4x6. Okay, so next up, I need some pattern paper. So this will be a 2-page list. I will be doing my photo over here, and then I'll be doing my list over here, and then I'll do lots of decorating around that. I've sketched it out. So here's my little sketch. I use my little listing with Lael workbook so that I have some idea of what I'm doing before we get here. If I didn't have an idea of what I was doing before we get here, we'd all be in big trouble, my friends. We'd be in big trouble. All right, so I have pulled some paper from the Smiles for Miles collection. American Crafts kind of had some weird things happening earlier this year where some of the collections they released, they did not release paper with them. They didn't release paper pads. So there was not a paper pad that went with the colorful story. So I've just pulled some papers I thought I might be able to use from Miles for Miles, right? And these will be backgrounds, so it'll work. So I've got to decide if I want to do this here. Now, it just so happened, I didn't plan on this to be like pink and blue, like, oh, look, it's male and female and it's pink and blue. I didn't plan on that. It just happened to be what I pulled out. So I could do that, but ooh, I think I might want to go with this guy. And then what I have planned over here. Okay, that's what we're going to do. I do all of my listing in a Traveler's Notebook insert. My Traveler's Notebook inserts that I use, my Lael by Mail inserts, are standard wide. So standard is 8.25 inches tall. That is the height of my Traveler's Notebook insert. Wide is 5. So standard wide is 5 by 8.25. Regular standard is a little bit wider than 4.25. So kind of a standard wide gives me almost 1.5 inches more width. Just gives me a little bit more room to work with. Now, you can do whatever you want in terms of whatever you're using for your listing. Some people use a happy planner. Some people use a composition notebook. Some people use an A5, an A6, a B5, B6, a B12, vitamins D and K and whatever, right? So you decide what you'd like to use if you are listing. I always say you only need 2 things to do what we do here. You need something to write with and something to write on. Beyond that, you get to do you. So because I am using a 5 by 8.25, the paper I'm using here, 6 by 8, so I have trimmed that 6 by 8 down just a tad. I've trimmed it down to 4 3/4 wide. That gives me a nice little white border all the way around. All right. So that is going to be my left side. My right side, I will do the same. I'm going to trim that down to 4 3/4 wide. Like so. Now, I am getting towards the end of my traveler's notebook insert. You can see lots of things happening here, not much happening over here. When I get to this point, if I can, I will create off the page. So what I mean by that, I'm not going to adhere anything here yet. I will work off the page like this. And then when I'm done, I will adhere those into my traveler's notebook insert. All righty. Justine said, love the color combos you choose. Oh yes, giveaway. I forgot to, yeah, I just got a little sidetracked there, friends. So, giveaway. The giveaway. There's actually going to be 2 of these. So, there is a live giveaway, and this is the prize. There's also an after party giveaway, and this is the prize. After party happens after we're done. That way anyone can participate, whether they are watching live or not. But the way the live one works is through the chat. So, starting now, chat away in the chat. And at some point soon, I will stop what I'm doing and I will scroll my finger up in the chat. Wherever my finger stops, that person will win. And that person will win this. This is a project kit from a kit and class that I taught last year. And it is a This Is Us project kit. So you have all of the product that you need to put together a traveler's notebook about This Is Us. Now, This Is Us can be whoever you want it to be, right? It can be you and a partner. It can be you and friends. It can be you and family. There is a video class that goes with this. And then there's also color step-by-step instructions. And I'm pulling these out just because there's something, let's see, I want to show you. We are here. We are here. Oh, yes. This is us, Traveler's Notebook project ideas. So different things you could document if you're documenting This Is Us as a couple. Whole bunch of different ideas. And then different things to document if you are documenting This Is Us as family. So lots and lots and lots of different ideas here that go with the class and that whole kit. The stamp set, stickers, paper, 2 Traveler's Notebook inserts, washi, lots of different things. So that is the live giveaway. Amy, if you will link that in the description box of the video. Just so if people want to take another look at that or interested in buying it, then they can. That was last year. Whoever just asked when I did the class, that was last year. So the class goes along with the kit. Okay, all right. So in a minute or 2, I will stop what I'm doing and we will draw for that. All right, so we know this is going to go over here. And obviously I won't write my list on there, right? That's a little dark. Can't really write on there. So I need some white cardstock. Let me pull out my white cardstock. And we'll trim that down. Usually I eyeball it and then it ends up being about the same size every time. So let me eyeball and then I will, do you think we have a little pencil in here? 3 weeks is a long time. Now, no one else is in my room while I'm gone. So if anything is not here, there's no one to blame but moi. Why are there no pencil in there? Why is there no pencil? Okay, well, this one will work. Okay, so let's see about there, and I'm going to say about there. Usually ends up being my white that I make my list on. Usually ends up being between 3 3/4 and 4. Yeah, 3 3/4 by 7. Even though I eyeball it, that's usually what it ends up being. And then that just gives me a nice pattern border all the way around. By 7. All right, so that will go right there. It gives me a nice bit of black to kind of, there's gonna be a lot of color going on over here and a little bit over here, so that black will kind of help to ground it a little bit. All right, now that, let's take a peek here. We would like to, I think I'd like to soften this up just a little bit, that white. We will do that with some pink spun sugar. All right, I have swatched all of my Distress Oxides so that when I am looking for a color, it's much easier to look through this than to pull out all of these and, you know, kind of try to match. So I did that with my Swatch This Inks stamp set. I am going to ink the edges of that white. And I'm going to do that with a little foam blending tool. So spun sugar. I've got my little foam head there for spun sugar. This is one of my products that is a foam blending tool storage. We have, I don't know, I think now 11 or 12 different versions ink-wise. So mine are Tim Holtz Distress Oxide inks because that's the ink I use. There are, like I said, there's the new 49 Market one. There's VersaFine, Gina K, Stamp Market. There's a ton of different things. But when you purchase that little storage kit, you are receiving the box. You are receiving 2 sheets, and the sheets are printed based on what you are selecting. So you have 2 sheets. Each sheet holds 20. So in that little box, 20, 40. I have 40 of my little storage, my little foam blending little heads in that one box. Also includes 40 pre-punched circles. They're not swatched. You got to do the swatching, but 40 pre-punched circles. So you can swatch and then label. Also includes 40 of your little Velcro pieces, and that is what's holding your little things down. So what I want to do here is I'm taking that little head and I am circular motion on my ink pad, and then I'm just going to ink the edges. This is mixed media for dummies. No, this is about as mixed media as I get, my friends. So I don't know, I did something a little fancier a couple of weeks back where I took the brand new small 1-inch new Distress Oxide inks and kind of dragged them across cardstock. I'll show you what that looked like to get a little bit of a background. That was a little bit more mixed media, but mixed media is not my thing. This is basically as mixed media as I get. I use ink for 2 things. Primarily inking the edges of things and stamping. But what that just did is just kind of soften that up a little bit, right? Just kind of softened that up, brought a little bit of pink in. And then I'll just put this guy right back on there, like so. Having all of your little foam heads like that stored, swatched number 1, but then stored, makes it, oh, I just realized I didn't do something and Nick's already gone. I need to get this little guy wet in a second. Makes it so that I'm not cross-contaminating colors. I always know what color is what, so that I know when I'm looking, for example, spun sugar, that I know which one it is. And I also know that's the oxide one. So I don't want to cross-contaminate colors. I also don't want to cross-contaminate same color, different type of ink. So for example, a Distress Oxide versus a Distress ink, because they have different properties. Anyhow, let me very quickly wet that, and as soon as I come back, I will draw for our first little giveaway, okay? Whoopsie. Hang tight. Where is that? Here we go. All right, it'll take me 30 seconds to go wet that, so I'll be right back. My stamp chamois, I will need that. Okay, now we're good. on my trimmer. Okay, so I am going to, I should tell you, if you left any kind of question or any kind of comment that you wanted me to see, I would not have seen it because all of that chat when I do a giveaway goes really fast. So if you left a comment, you have a question, something you want me to see, give me about a minute and then please retype it again and then I will see it. So I'm stopping, and Ashley T, you are the random lucky winner of that This Is Us project kit. So Ashley T, please send an email to lailbymail@gmail.com. In the subject line, write This Is Us project kit. And then in the body of your email, please include your name and mailing address, and we will get that shipped off to you this week. Ashley T. Congratulations, Ashley. All right. Don't be sad if you didn't win and your name's not Ashley T, because also there will be another giveaway after party. So you'll leave a comment on the video when it's over for another one. Okay. All right. So now, let's get this guy. Oh gosh, I'm gonna have my adhesive out. What kind of preparedness am I doing here? Or lack of. All right. There we go. That will go about right there. All right, this guy can go right here. Oh yes, before I get too far, I need to round my corners. I like to round the outside corners, in this case of that spread, because the corners of my Traveler's Notebook inserts are rounded. So, outside corners, this is a left page, so I will round these two guys. And right page, so I will round these two guys. All right, so now, okay, Lil, where my Sharpie? Golly. I was doing some work before I left, the night before we left on the 6th, so the night before we left, I was prepping my Traveler's Notebook insert to take with me so I could do a little bit of documenting on the road. I think that's why some of the things I probably stole my Sharpie. All right, there we go. But I always have a spare. Okay, so if I'm looking at the last list I did for inspiration, I am using the Christine medium numbers to stamp the year, and then I will stamp This Is Us below. So Christine medium numbers, here we go. Christine medium numbers solid. And I picked these because they're a nice size to kind of make a nice little statement there, right? And I will be doing them in black. Because, like I said, there's going to be a lot of color on this. A lot of color. So, let me grab this little thing. Put my 3 on there. And my, 30 years. That's 30 years married. Not even like 30 years together. Like 32 years together. 30 years married. All right. Need a stamping block. Let's see here. What do we want to work with? I'm just fumbling. All right, there we go. So, when it comes to stamping, I know not everybody loves to stamp. And when I ask you if you are one of those people and you say you don't like to stamp, I ask you why. And you say, well, I'm afraid I'm going to mess something up. And I say, oh, okay, well, that's easy. That's an easy one to overcome. And I always suggest a couple of things. Number one, right size your stamping block to your stamp, all right? I have lots of different stamping blocks because I have lots of different size stamps. This is a very large stamping block, right? That is for my library card stamp. I need it to be larger, right? If I only have one stamping block, I have to have the lowest common denominator. I have to have a very large stamping block. If I have a smaller stamp like this, it will work, right? That will work on this large stamping block. But the larger your stamping block in relation to your stamp, it makes it a little bit harder to handle, right? So if I have this little guy, right, this little O that I want to stamp, I can do that. It just makes it a little bit harder to handle. And because it's harder to handle, because there's all of this excess area, sometimes it can be hard to get a nice even impression because there's so much extra area here. So first thing, right size your stamping block to your stamp, which is what I've done there. Next thing is always, I cannot emphasize this enough. Test before you actually stamp on your project, okay? So there's a number of different reasons why I might want to test. Number one, I might want to test to make sure that that stamp is nice and clean. If it has a little hair, a little piece of lint, a little piece of dust or something on that stamp, I don't want to find that out on my project. I'd much rather find that out as I'm testing, right? So always stamp or test first. That looks good. So I'm going to come over here and let's get ready to stamp. I'm inking that up again, right? I like a nice, solid stamped impression. So I'm inking that up very nicely. We'll go, my 3 should go right about there, I think. Next thing, I stamp standing up, all right? I am standing up. Now, little secret, I stand up anytime I'm working. So anytime I'm designing, anytime I'm working, I am standing. That's just kind of me. Especially when it comes to stamping though. I cannot emphasize this enough. If you normally stamp sitting down, there's something that happens when you sit down. You get a little prehistoric. When you are sitting down and you're stamping, these are your little T-Rex arms. You don't have a lot of range of motion when you're sitting to be able to stamp, right? When you stand, all of a sudden you have lots more range of motion. You have your full arms to use, not just your little T-Rex arms, right? So when you're stamping, range of motion and leverage, that's a big part of stamping. So if you can stand and give yourself more leverage, more range of motion, I think you will find you will like the outcome a little bit better than sitting. Now, if you have a regular height desk, I have a counter height work surface here. If you have a regular height desk, you might say, Lael, that's way too far for me to kind of bend down to stamp. And I say, no worries, go to a taller surface. Go to the kitchen, go to the bathroom. You usually have higher counters in the kitchen and the bathroom. That may give you a little bit more stability than trying to bend over as you're standing to your desk. Let me get my little 0 out now. And I will, let me get that. These are hand drawn. My friend Christine at oh my gosh, the sleep, my lack of sleep. Pop art daisy. Anyhow, my friend Christine, we collaborated on this stamp set, and actually there are a number of Christine stamp sets, a number of different sizes of numbers, and then also alphabet. So these are all hand drawn. So a little ski-wampus, but ski-wampus on purpose. All right, inking that up again. Black. So when it comes to stamping, I primarily use Distress Oxide. Oh, I might like it better this way. No, better this way. I primarily use Distress Oxide inks with the exception of black. Black, the only black I use is this guy, the VersaFine Claret. That is Nocturne. That is a pigment-based ink. Distress Oxide is also a pigment-based ink. Look how nice and crisp that is. That's the black I use. In my opinion, and everything I share with you guys is just my opinion. I'm not the expert, just my opinion, what I like. That is the best black out there for stamping. It just gives you a nice, really solid, crisp impression, which is what I am looking for when I'm stamping. That's why I prefer to use Distress Oxides in my stamping, because it just Distress Oxide, pigment-based ink, is a little bit, this is not a technical term, this is just a Lael term, a little bit juicier. It gives me a little bit more of a solid stamped impression. That is why I use Distress Oxides. If you are into mixed media or you are looking to get interested or get into mixed media, I do a little bit of research on the difference between a pigment-based ink and a dye-based ink because they have different properties and they will do different things for you based on what you want to do. There is there are actually 2 links in the description box of the video, all the way at the bottom. One is a link, they're both links to articles at scrapbook.com. One talks about the difference and shows the difference between, between pigment-based inks and dye-based inks. So if you're like, I don't really know the difference, I'd like to learn a little bit more. Great article explaining the differences and showing you kind of the differences. There's another article specifically talking about the differences between Distress Oxide inks and Distress inks. So again, pigment versus dye, but some really great project examples showing you the exact same color, but what they look like and the different things that you can do with a with a pigment-based ink versus a dye-based ink. All right, but this is what I use inks for, pretty much just my stamping. All right, so now I've stamped 30 and then I wrote years next to that. I'm going to the This Is Us stamp set and I'm going to stamp This Is Us. That is that This Is Us stamp. So this guy, you have a couple of different potty people, right? You know, potty people like the people that you see that mark the restrooms. So I'm not going to assign a gender to them. You have one with a skirt and one with pants. And then you have a smaller one with a skirt and a smaller one with pants. So you could kind of, if you are doing, I should have had hang on, let me see if I have it behind me. So I can kind of show you an example of, well, I can show you that project. Hold on, my back is to you. Apologies for that. Do I have it here? Maybe not. Maybe not. Well, anyhow, when I did that project with the project kit, I did some fun things with the little potty people. So I did a spread on party of 5. So party of 4 in our family. Nick, Lael, Jack, and Sam. So I did 3 people with pants and 1 with a skirt. You can do this little fun So Happy Together, and you could put 2 little potty people in there. But you have lots of fun stamps to kind of work with and play with in that stamp set. All right, now I need to get a different stamping block, right? Because that will not work. You can use a larger stamping block than the stamp, but you really can't use a smaller stamping block than the stamp. Don't do something like that. You will not get a good result. So I recommend that you have, if you can, kind of an assortment of different sizes of stamping blocks for your different size stamps. All right, so this guy is a little 5 by 1 inch, one of my Lael by Mails. All right, so back to our little tester here. I'm also going to do this. Ooh, that's not quite straight. Here's a little tip. Instead of trying to place your stamp with your fingers on the stamping block, place your stamp on your work surface so it's straight, and then pick it up with your stamping block. That's a little bit easier to do. All right, let's ink this guy up again. This Is Us. And got a nice, ooh, so nice. Nice stamped impression there. Test it out. It looks good. I tell you, you're never going to regret the testing. Sometimes, especially if you have a new stamp set that are new to you that you haven't really used before, it's a good idea to test it so you get a feel for how much pressure you need to apply when you are stamping. If you have a stamp that is fairly small, maybe it's a really fine font, you probably want to test to know how much pressure you need to apply. Your smaller stamps, you don't need to apply as much pressure as you think you might. What happens when you apply too much pressure is it's flattening out the stamp material. So in this case, my stamps are photopolymers, so it is flattening out the polymer if you're pressing too hard. So if you have a little tiny, very fine stamp and you are flattening it out, then you're really kind of distorting the detail. So another thing that you can figure out is your testing. How much pressure do I need to apply? Another thing, you don't want to rock your stamp. And when I say rock, you don't want to do this, right? If you are rocking your stamp as you are, you know, if I don't want to do that on there, but if I had this down like this, I don't want to rock like that. Because if I rock like that, I am now applying undue pressure at the top and the bottom of the stamp. So again, when we talked about too much pressure, it can blur a little bit or get a little bit thicker at the top and the bottom, wherever your pressure points, wherever you're rocking. All right, don't rock the boat, baby. Okay, so there we go. And we may use, we'll probably use a little something over here, so we'll leave that out for a minute. Okay, now I'm going to, do I want to use a little bit of, I don't know, I might. This, okay. This washi from this Colorful Story, the collection I'm working with. So this is all part of a washi set in that collection. So you've got some thicker rolls and some narrower rolls. Your thicker rolls, if you don't want something that thick, it's really easy to get a thin strip from a thick roll. And all you have to do with that, you can kind of see what I've done here. That's what I did on this guy. That was, started out as a thicker roll, thicker width. And all I did was put the full width down and then like that, and then peeled off the thin width that I wanted. So don't kind of poo-poo a wider washi like this because you think it's too wide for you. You can make it as narrow as you want, but then still have the width. Okay, but I think what I might do here is I could do the pink or not the black, or I don't know, the green. No, the green will be too much. Maybe this yellow. I'm a big fan of yellow. Now, I've been talking a lot and I have missed all kinds of things in the chat. So, let's see. Margarita, hello Margarita, said, I love stamps and I have a nice collection, but I only learned how to use them with you. Now I'm a better stamper. Well, I'm so glad. I'm so glad that you said that, Margarita. And here's the thing. I'm not the expert. I just learned, right? When I first started stamping, I did not like stamping at all. I really didn't. Because I didn't have a clue what I was doing. I had no clue what I was doing, and I would just kind of hop right in and start stamping, and I'd be like, oh shoot, I had dirt on my stamper. Oh shoot, I didn't know that I shouldn't apply, so much pressure, or oh shoot. There were all kinds of things I was doing, but because I was doing it on my project and not testing it out first, I was making mistakes, and it was ruining my project. So I started to get kind of frustrated, and I'm like, I don't like stamping. But then after I started playing around, figuring kind of out what worked for me and what didn't work for me, then that's when I really started to love stamping. Let's see. Vicky, ink chat is always good, right? Joe Disney fan, do I sell this guy? I do not. This is linked in the description box of the video. This is a salt cellar, okay? So it is just a little salt cellar that you put your salt in if you live in a humid climate that keeps it kind of dry and not clumping. This guy, you see me use every time I'm stamping. You can use, it doesn't have to be something like this. You could put it in a baggie. You could put it in like a Tupperware or something. The whole point, though, of keeping it in something while you're stamping is that so it doesn't dry out. That will dry out very quickly if it's just kind of out here hanging out. So. Diane, do I sell blank traveler's notebook inserts? I sure do. I sell lined, I sell dot grid, and I sell blank. Ashley said, question, Lael, I already have, this is a stamp set, the one in my kit I won. If you want to do another giveaway, you can give it to someone else to enjoy. Ashley, thank you so much for offering, but let's do this. I will do another giveaway. But Ashley, shoot me an email and I will send you a coupon code to use for the value for that because you won. So you should be able to have something. Thank you for doing that. And so guess what, friends? Ashley has thrown her prize back into the prize pool. So in a few minutes, we'll draw again. Thank you for doing that, Ashley. All right, so let's look at my little sketch here. All right, so I know I need to do a little bit of decorating here and down here. So this is my thought over here. There are two different die cut packs from this colorful story. There is let's see, well, one has flowers and the other one has other things, all right? Because the packaging doesn't say what the difference is. So on the website, on my website, it will tell you what's what. But so many beautiful flowers here. I had pulled out some flowers. I thought what we might do would be maybe something like this. Is just pulling out, bringing in a little bit of color down here. Ooh. So I could tuck a little bit, maybe one underneath. And then, ooh, you know, we've got to use this one, this little yellow flower over here. So it's interesting. This collection reminds me of a couple different things. It reminds me of Vicki Boutin's color study collection a little bit. Also reminds me of something that Simple Stories did, where they had, let me figure this out, how we want to do this. Where they had butterflies and birds and flowers. I can't remember what the collection was called, but also reminded me of that. So I think we will go with that. And I'm going to grab some highlighter tape. Oopsie. Highlighter tape. I'm going to take a piece of highlighter tape. I like where I've placed these. And I'm going to take that highlighter tape and put it across, oops, not quite long enough. Let's see if that will hold that guy in place. Put it across all three. I have now taken 3 separate die cuts and turned them into one die cut, all right? Highlighter tape is repositionable, removable tape. Highlighter tape, a lot of people will use it for highlighting textbooks or maybe a Bible or a magazine or something like that. But it is meant to highlight, it's meant to be removable and reusable. So what's nice about that, when I am placing die cuts, sometimes you get die cuts where exactly where you want them to be. And then you're like, oh shoot, now I've got to pick each one of those off and put my adhesive on and lay them back down. And then they never end up in the same place where you wanted them to be, right? So your highlighter tape, by putting that tape across all the pieces that you want to adhere, makes it now one piece, and then I'm not guessing and trying to figure out where I wanted those. And because it's removable and repositionable, that means that it will not peel up any of the pattern or the paper from that when I go to remove it. Okay. Now, obviously too long. I will pull those, cut those in a minute, but let me get a little bit right there. So I use my tape runner to adhere or apply adhesive to most of that, but then my little glue pen for those little stems. And then I'm just going to grab my little tweezers and lift. Okay, there we go. That comes in really handy if you are, maybe you have die cut letters or something like that and you're spelling a word. Get them placed and then lay them kind of all where you want them. Take highlighter tape over the top and then lift them up as one instead of all little individual pieces. All right, so I'm going to cut this little part off and then I will redraw the price. And thank you again, Ashley. Ashley, make sure to email me so I can send you a coupon code. So that means we'll have another, we'll redraw that, and then we'll also have another live giveaway that we'll do a little bit later. All right, you'll notice I cut off whatever was bleeding off the edge as well. I do not like things to bleed out the side of my traveler's notebook because they just end up getting all like squished if I do that. out the edges. Now, I feel like we better do this. My little outlining too. So what's on your list of things to do today? What are you doing this Saturday? Oh yeah, well, it's kind of the last Saturday. I don't know, do people consider, I guess not the last Saturday of summer, because I guess the last Saturday of summer is kind of Labor Day, right? Next Saturday. Last Saturday in August, right? Kids are back in school. Well, in some areas, kids are back in school. Our kids were always back in school by now. When I was in high school, we were always back in school by now. I'd always thought it was so odd that you didn't like wait to start school until after Labor Day, but all right. And now I've asked that question and I won't even know what your answers are because Martha said absolutely nothing. Finally a break. Robin's doing laundry. Virginia's catching up with work. Paula's hanging with her friend. Ms. L is resting up after working all week. Ashley said they've been in school 3 weeks now. Hi, Debbie, out for dinner and then Shakespeare Festival. Oh, that sounds amazing. Crafting and watching rugby. I love it. I love hearing what you guys are doing. Cleaning, lurking and not chatting. I have to be doing Zen girls. I love it, right? Because some of you are just, not even, you're not chatting because you're playing. I love it. And then, okay, hold on. Where is she? I just saw Tracy, right? Tracy said, and eating Wagyu biltong. And I know exactly what that is. Because Tracy is from South Africa. Tracy, that was so nice of you. Tracy, when she learned that Nick and I were going to South Africa, she sent me an email and said, listen, if you need anything while you're here, here's how to get in touch with me. And that was so kind of you to do, Tracy. That was so nice. All right, we might do that little guy there. I don't know. We'll see. All right. I need to start making my list, right? I need to start making my list. So let's just look again at what we did when we did this last time, if we need a little point of reference. So this is my list that I did last time in 2024. So just a little bit of decor down here. And because I didn't use a pattern paper here, I ended up, just putting a couple guys down there, which totally worked. So we need something down here. What might go down here? I mean, that would work. Poor Nick is just a bloom. He's got so many flowers all around him, but that's okay, right? I got over the fact a long time ago that because, two boys, Jack and Sam, and then, Nick, that if I wanted to use flowers and pretty things, that I just had to work it into everything I did or else I'd never be able to use it. Now, I had this little tube. I thought it might be kind of fun, maybe to somehow use this little guy, but I knew I didn't want to use it with this tag. So what if I did this? What if I cut that part off? And what if it just kind of came somewhere? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if it works somewhere. I think now that I've cut that part off, it might be kind of weird. Yeah, I don't want that. Okay. Maybe this guy here, I don't know, we just might end up keeping it really simple. There were all these beautiful butterflies. Oh, I know. Hang on. Stickers. So I need something a little bit smaller. All my butterflies, I mean, they're great. All the butterflies and flowers are nice because they're a nice big scale, but if I needed something little over here, it's kind of, my butterflies are a little bit large. So this guy, the 6x12 stickers. Let's see what we might want to do. We've got yellow, we have yellow. Maybe we need a little bit like of this green over here. Let's see, maybe this guy. Does this guy work right here maybe? Maybe we just put it right there. Sure, that works. What we've also now done is create a visual triangle. Now, we kind of had the visual triangle already with the 30. And when I say visual triangle, I mean this. Our eye starts here, it moves down here, and it moves over here. So we've got this visual triangle. But now by adding that green sticker, now not only do we have it with the number, but now we kind of have our colors working in a visual triangle. And now I've pulled a little bit of the green from here, here, here. So I feel like we're good there. I feel like we are good. And this guy, we'll just tilt a little bit, but we will cut this edge off. So I think we're just about ready to start our list. 30 years, this is us. So I need a bullet stamp. So my list in this case is going to be a run-on. So we'll be do a bullet and then writing something and then bullet writing something, bullet writing something. So run-on like this, as opposed to a numbered list kind of like this, right? Or like this, where I'm doing an icon and then writing, icon writing, or numbered list. So this is just a run-on. I need, let's see, let me grab out the bullet stamps. Bullet stamps are hands down probably my most used stamps. And I'd say probably my top selling stamps, just because they are so generic. So we have Bulletin More 2, Bulletin More 3. When somebody says, Lael, if I'm just starting out, I want to start creative listing, I want to get a couple of stamp sets, what do you recommend? I say I would always recommend getting a bullet stamp. I rarely do a list where I'm not using some kind of bullet. And of the 3, it just kind of depends on what you're looking for. Bulletin More. This one's super generic. You have a couple of different styles of numbers and then kind of your basic bullets. Your circles, you have open circles and squares and hearts. So maybe if you're bullet journaling and you want to use your little icons like you would in bullet journaling, you've got some opens there. But super basic set. I'd say the one I probably use the most is Bulletin More 2. Just because it has lots of different icons. Bulletin More 3, even more icons. But I think what I'm looking for, I'm going to keep it super simple. And I am going to go to the original Bulletin More. It's not called original, it's just Bulletin More. And I'm going to grab that little heart. Right, just grab that little heart. Whoopsie. That is an outline heart. Let me get that back on there. All right, here's my little heart. We talked earlier about right sizing your stamping block to your stamp. When it comes to the bullet stamps, if you are working with little teeny tiny stamps, this is, in my opinion, a super important tool. Super important. It is like the ultimate way of right sizing your stamping block to your stamp when you're working with little teeny tiny stamps. It's a stamping stylus. This is one of my products. But you'll notice this is very similar to shape and length, something that our hand is very accustomed to, writing with a pen or pencil, right? So very easy to hold, very easy to maneuver when you're working with little teeny tiny stamp. You are taking your little teeny tiny bullet stamp and you are placing it on the end of that stamping stylus. There is a little sticker on here. That sticker, I'm going to suggest you do not take that off. It's there for a reason. Because that stamping stylus is so long, it's a little bit hard to see the orientation of your stamp. So if you place your stamp in relation to where that little sticker is, the squirrel on there, you can see that squirrel. So as you're stamping, as long as you make sure your squirrel is in the same place every time, then you should have the right orientation of your stamp, in this case, the heart. Okay, hang on. Somebody asked a question. I know, and I apologize, I saw it before. A question just came out. Am I bringing your stamps to Texas? Virginia, I am bringing stamps to Texas. I assume you mean the Crafting Through the Holidays event. Yes, but I won't be bringing all of them. There are a lot of stamps. So, Virginia, I will tell you, and I've told other people this that have reached out, if you want to place an order with me before and have me bring it to you, then you know you get what you want. I know someone else also asked about if I was bringing traveler's notebooks to that event, and yes, I am. Mary Tran, where will the event be? It is in Conroe, Texas, but it is sold out. People always ask, Lael, where are you teaching? Where do I know where you're going to be in person? Best way to know is to go to my website, laelbymail.com, and click on Coming Soon. Top part of Coming Soon will show you what products and what project kits are coming out, both from me and then other products from other manufacturers. And then towards the bottom of the page is where I will be in person. So that's always a really good place to go. All right, what am I looking for? I'm looking for, oh, these guys, yes. So, that, I think let's look for a little blue over here. And we'll do our bullets in blue. So, let's look for, Mary Tran, sold out. Oh, yeah, I know. Ooh, broken china. That might be a nice one. Should we go with broken china? Or salvaged patina? Salvaged, you know, when you say it, you have to say salvaged like that, or like Wednesday or February. Salvaged patina or broken china. I don't like broken china. I think we're gonna go with broken china. So broken china is what I will use for my little bullets. Get that out. Oh. And let's just look to make sure that we're going to like what it looks like. Oh, it makes it so easy with that stylus. You guys, I can't even tell you. Look at that. So easy. And do we like it? Yes, we do. All right, so now we're ready to make our list. These are just, this is my run-on list of This Is Us. So, what did I write over here? We have been married 30 years, together for 32. Okay, what's next? Ooh, he is 60 in a few months. I just turned 57. Just a number, right? Just a number. That also just reminded me, I think I talked about a giveaway. So I better do that. I'm stopping, and this is for Ashley, like threw her prize back in because she already had it. So she threw hers back in, and so the winner again of the second This Is Us mini book project kit is Crafty 865. Crafty 865, congratulations. Please send an email to lailbymail@gmail.com. And in the subject line, please put winner, This Is Us kit. And in the body of your email, please put your name and address, and the team will get your prize shipped to you next week. Yay! All right, and still don't be sad if you didn't win. You had 2 chances. You'll still have one more chance. After party. After party giveaway, the way the after party prizes work. You leave a comment on the video when it is over. That's how they work. So you have until we are listing again. So that'll be Wednesday night. The 26th, is that right? 26th, Wednesday night, August 26th. Right before we start, I will draw the winner, and that person will also win one of those kits. Okay, here we go. Mary Tran, it will be 20th for you on September 10th. Congratulations, early. All right, what else do I have here? He is Ben at McQuain, that's the company he works for a whopping 34 years. I celebrated my 6-year LBM, Lail by Mail, anniversary this spring. So if you are new to creative listing, this is what it is, right? Basically, I am just making a list. I am telling a story by making a list. Way more approachable, in my opinion, than, sitting down and writing this story about Nick and Lael and how we met and da-da-da-da. It's just really easy. Now, there's nothing wrong with sitting down and writing a lovely story about This Is Us. Just for me, this is a lot more approachable. If you are new, or maybe you've been here a while and you're like thinking now, okay, I think I might be ready to maybe start dipping my toe in the creative listing water. There is a free class that I have here on my YouTube channel. Amy, if you would include that link in the chat, how to get started creative listing. I give you some pointers on some great listing topics, super easy ones to just jump in with. So check that out. We both love travel more than anything. Just, so much. And that's not something that we necessarily knew about each other when we met. But we just love it. Live for it. Save for it. Live for it. He cooks. I don't. At all. Yeah. I have girl dinner. When he's out of town, it's girl dinner. Right? He brings me coffee every morning in bed. He's a good one. He's a keeper. And if you're doing a list like this, you get to decide what goes on your list, right? There's some things about us together. There's some things that are different about us. We're both early risers. He likes chocolate. I like vanilla. That's a really funny story about that. He likes chocolate. I like vanilla. What else do I have here? I won't write this because it's long. I've racked up quite the debt in our 20 plus year ongoing gin game. We like to play cards, and we have a running gin game that we've had going for about 20 years, and keeping score, and we, bet for money, play for money, but not really, because it just kind of rolls over, and it's continued to roll over. All right, let me see. I need one more maybe little thing here. We're living our best lives together. Okay, there we go. Now, there are some word strip stickers here on the sticker sheet. So, some I would not use. I want a do-over. That would not be working here. I don't know. Maybe you're doing a list about this is us where you want a do-over. No need for do-over here. Happiness, would that have main squeeze? Okay, look it. Happiness could be over here maybe, or up here. Happiness, 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 happiness. What if we just do happiness right there? Happiness. I really don't need much of anything else, I think, right? I really don't. So I think I'm going to call it good. I will add a little date right here. I will add, So I'm writing this list in August. That was May. I don't care. I'm just going to write August. August 2025. And it's done. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I will come back now into my insert and I will adhere it. So I'm going to do something a little bit different on the left-hand page. So right-hand page, regular adhesive, and that will just pop right in there. Left-hand page, I am not going to use regular adhesive. Left-hand page, I'm going to use double-sided score tape. The reason why, Tracy Gardner. Tracy said, I heard gin. It's, let's see, 7:30 her time. I think it's time I poured a small one, maybe. So gin is kind of a thing in South Africa. Nick and I the drink, not the card game. Nick and I very much enjoy our gin. So yes, we definitely, we didn't go overboard, but we definitely enjoyed our gin on our trip. That's for sure. All right, double-sided score tape. The reason I am doing this And I'm going to put it on all 4 edges, but really it needs to be just on one. I mean, I need to put adhesive on all, you know, over the whole thing, but this, I'm using it specifically for the inside edge on that left page. So the right edge on the left page. The reason I am doing that is this. When you end up with more volume on one side than the other, like I have here, my left side has more volume than the right side. I need to use, in my opinion, a little bit stronger adhesive on this edge because gravity, it's going to want to pop, right? And so if I'm just using my regular tape runner there, it's really not strong enough along that edge to hold it because it's trying to make that curve. So what I've done is I've used my double-sided score tape, and as I do this, as I'm pulling off that release paper, you'll notice I didn't pull off the entire thing. I just pulled off, I don't know, maybe about a third on each edge. The nice thing about double-sided score tape is that it's really sticky. The not so nice thing about double-sided score tape is it's really sticky. What I mean by that is if you've ever worked with tape like that, you basically have one shot to get it on and get it straight. And if you don't get it straight, oh well, it's pretty much on and you just got to live with it. So by just pulling back a little bit of the release paper, it kind of makes it repositionable for you. So I can do this. I would never be able to do this. And I literally, it's touching the paper, my insert. I would never be able to do that if I had pulled off all that release paper. What that lets me do is kind of move it around until I get it straight. It looks good, it looks good, it looks good. Then I press down in the part where the adhesive has been revealed and then gently pull the rest of that out. Now I do that on all 4 edges. That makes it so it's kind of, gives me a little bit of wiggle room. Reggie hair there. All right. And because I used that along that edge, it's going to make it so it doesn't want to pop up. All right, so there we go. That is our first list. This is us. As we talked about at the beginning, if you missed it, maybe This Is Us is not something you want to do. Maybe you don't want to do it about a partner. Maybe you want to do This Is Us friendship, coworkers, cousins, family members, kids. You could be doing something like this. I could do something like this, Jack and Sam. I could have a photo of Jack and Sam, and I could do This Is Us, and then I could talk about Jack and Sam. I could do it like I showed you one of the lists I did last year with a friend. So that was a list that I did, photo of Vicky and myself, and This Is Us, and I just kind of talked about, we've been friends for 20 years. Some ways we lead parallel lives, but in different countries. Our husbands are similar. We're both blonde. She's an extrovert through and through. I'm an introverted extrovert. She loves getting messy with mixed media, and I hate inky fingers. We both love to shop and can do some damage. Anyhow, so just kind of, again, a little bit of this, how we're similar, and then maybe similarities and differences. You could even do this with pets. You have a couple of different pets, animals, dogs, cats, whatever it is. How they're similar, how they are different. Let's see. Mary Tran, does anyone have any recommendation on a spiral binding machine that they love that is not a cinch? And then I saw Tracy said, if you're just looking to use it minimally, like on your idea books, like I did, yeah, that's best to do like FedEx Kinko's or something like that. Alrighty, so let me get these things put away and we will be ready to move on to our next list. So our next list, let me look. Oh, our next list is things that make life sweet. All right. So you can interpret that any way you want. That could be kind of a favorites list. It could be a, I don't know. For me, it's just kind of things for me personally that just make life a little bit better, a little bit sweeter, right? Things that make life sweet. And for this one, I am using a collection that's been out for a little bit. Again, I'm so behind. I have been traveling so much. I'm way behind on my What's New Wednesdays and showing you all the new products. So I haven't shown this one either, but we are using the Cherry Sweet collection from Frank Garcia. I am super excited about parts of this collection. So let me get these little things put away, and then I will show it to you. And then show you my plan. All right, this is us. This needs to get, where is it? Where is it? Oh, one more thing. Before I put these away, your little pieces that you're cutting off. So these were 6x8, right? I had 6x8 papers and I cut them down because they were too wide. Don't throw these away. You can use these. So sometimes if I need, let me see if I can, oh, while I'm here, this was my mixed media. This is where I used the new little 1-inch, little 1-inch distress oxides. And I just dragged them across white cardstock to make my own little background. I was kind of talking about that a minute ago. All right, let me see if I have one here where even same paper. Here's an example where I took the extra that I cut off and then just put that on the second page. So I will add photos here. Still haven't printed those out, but these guys, if you keep that piece, sometimes I'll do it there. Sometimes I will do it over there. I can see if oh yeah, here's another one where I took the piece that I had cut off and just used it over on the right-hand side. So they're definitely usable. All right. So let's see. Yes, things that make life sweet. What do I do with that? I guess we'll just put this over here for now. And this one, I think I want to use Murphy often. All right. Just get these things out of here so it's not so crazy. We can see what we're doing. All right, oopsie, I just dumped everything out. Cherry Sweet. So, Frank Garcia collection from Prima. It is kind of vintagey, kind of kitschy. There's actually a couple pieces in here that I fell in love with. Reason why I brought it in, reason I'm going to use it on this list. I love cherries. I love, love, love cherries, and called Cherry Sweet. So you see lots of cherries in this collection. Lots of bows, which I love using little bows like that. So lots of bows in some of the die cut packs. But this, I saw this girl and I fell in love with this girl. Terry asked, did you spiral bind all the idea books into one? I did not. They're in 3 separates. And if it was just for me, I would probably put them in one. But if I put them in one as I am using them, I think it gets a little confusing on camera. Then people think that they are all one, so I kept mine separate. This girl, I loved this girl. I think she's so cute and just fun, and yeah. So I'll be using her in a little version. I need 2 pieces of pattern paper. So I've got the 8x8 pad here. And the 2 pieces of pattern paper, well, let's just look at it first, and then I will show you which pieces I'm going to use. So the 8x8 pad is 32 sheets, 4 sheets each of 8 double-sided patterns. So you will see them here. But just such fun cherries. That was the first one. This one. This is what I'm going to use for one side of my list. And I am such a sucker for a blue floral like that, and this is the other side. So this is why it's nice to have, and you have 4 sheets each. So we've got plenty to work with. Is that perforated? It is not, so I need to cut it. So one side will be this, one side will be this, right? Her red hair, isn't it so cute? Her little kind of reddish pink hair. Now, this collection I have brought in a la carte. So if you like pattern paper, you can buy the 8x8 paper pad, you can buy the die cut packs, or you can also buy the big bundle. And with the big bundle, I put everything together in one bundle. And because you're just buying the full bundle, you get a little 15% off on the bundle. All right, so let's just look at the rest of the papers in here. Beautiful floral. You could use that as a whole sheet or cut apart. These are so cute. I would probably cut those apart, so I'd have nice little ephemera pieces. That is beautiful. The little butterflies. But if you like kind of soft, vintagey things, this is a beautiful collection. More butterflies. So pretty. Kind of that ephemera collage there. There's another frame. So the way I'm going to use this, and you don't see me do this very often, I'm going to do something directly on there. Usually you see me use white cardstock or something like that, but I will on the other side. Anyhow, you can see that. Oh, love that. Kind of that little collage there. All right. Let me put that away and let's get started here. So this will be my left page. This will be my right page. Now these are 8 by 8, right? And I work in a traveler's notebook, standard wide. So they are too wide. I need to trim them to 4 3/4. So this one's easy. Let me just cut this top guy off first. This one is easy because it doesn't really matter where I trim it, right? 4 3/4. Now we've got this guy. So I need to be thinking about 8 by 8, Karen. I need to be thinking about how I want to cut this, because if I were to cut it at 4 3/4 right here, then I don't have as much room here, right? So I'm kind of cutting a part of that off. So what I want to do, I'm going to start at this edge and cut off a little bit of this. Now, let's see what happens when I get to 4 3/4. Does that give me it does. There we go. So I've maintained that cute little girl, and then I've given myself enough room here for a title. And this I could use really for anything else. Let me look at something. Let me just look at something here. This could be interesting because, where's my insert? These 2 pieces that I have left over, I mean, I could make, I could do that and make a whole other page. In fact, I don't know, I may end up doing that for this page and then doing my list on there. We'll see. We've got options now. All right. So, somebody asked before about corner rounder, I think. Corner rounder. So, I use a set of 2, and the corner rounders are available in a set on my website. The set of 2. That's the set. So, one is 1/2, not just what they've named it, and one is 1. These don't relate. There are other, like We Are Memory Keepers or We Are Makers or whatever they call themselves now, has a corner chomper, and one is labeled 1/2, and it's not anywhere near that. So that's what I use. I use those 2. Primarily, I use that one. Okay, so now my thought was, over here, I thought I would stamp my title, Things That Make Life Sweet. Now what that means, I don't know. We'll see if we do this together, because this will take a little bit of time. I will start and then I'll see if I continue having us do this together, or if I start and then say, okay, I'm going to finish the title later. I'm going to use Murphy Alpha. So this is a 5 by 7 stamp set. It has 26, 26, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 58. It has 58 stamps. You have all letters. You have the solid version and then the outline version. So you can use these in a number of different ways. You can use these. You could just use all solids. You could use all outlines. You could mix solid and outline, or you could use them together. So if I were to use them together, I would probably stamp, for example, the A in a lighter ink and then do the outline on top of it with a darker ink. So I could do light pink and black, or I could do light pink and darker ink, or darker pink, but you can kind of use them in a number of different ways. All right. Karen said, hoping so because I can't make 6 by 6 papers work for my creative listing style. Karen, and I don't know when it was, but I did a little tutorial that I saw on Instagram where you can take a 6x6 paper and cut it a certain way and make the size that you need for Traveler's Notebook page. So that, I know that's not really helpful because I don't know which video I did it in, but in fact, I think somebody also posted about it in the Lail by Mail Facebook group. So you could probably find it there. Speaking of the Lail by Mail Facebook group, if you are on Facebook and you are not in the Lail by Mail Facebook group, well, why not? Go to Facebook, search Lail by Mail. You'll see a Facebook page and a Facebook group. The group, anyone can post in, but it is private. So you just have to ask to be part of it. And when you get there, and then I will approve you. But lots of fun. People share all different kinds of things, what they're working on their lists, which is always fun to see because you guys get to see everything I do, but I never get to see what you do. So I enjoy seeing that. And I know other people do too. Alrighty, right sizing my stamping block to my stamp again, right? So I've pulled out two little cylinders. This is a stamping block set, one of my Lail by Mail stamping block sets, two little cylinders. That guy will work for everything. So I'll use that smaller one. Again, if you right size your stamping block to your stamp, it just makes life a little bit easier. Now, you might be going, well, Lail, why are you just using a small one? Why don't you just take a bigger one and either spell everything out and stamp once or spell line by line and stamp each line? Definitely things you could do, but I'm a little bit of a weirdo when it comes to stamping with alphabet stamps. I like to control the spacing, how closely my letters are together. I like my letters to be close together. And you can only get your letters so close together if you are stamping a word on a stamping block because you have a little bit of buffer, extra stamp material, polymer, around each letter. And for me, I like to get my letters closer, so I stamp them individually. Things that make life sweet. So when I start looking at this, first off, since I have no lines, I am going to grab my pencil. So things that make life sweet. I know I need 6 lines. And I know that, let's just grab, well, we'll grab the T. So if we know that each things, okay, I gotta do some math here. Whoopsie, stay there. If these are about, let's see here. Half inch. They're a half inch tall. So if I have a half inch, I have 5 rows. So let's just start here. 1. And then I'd say we want to have maybe, we need a little space in between. I don't know, 1/4 inch, half inch, 1/4 inch. Half inch, 1/4 inch. So let's see how we're doing. This is 1, 2, 3, half inch. This guy would be 4, 1/4 inch, and then half inch. So my 5 would be down here. Am I okay with that? I think I am. So for me, because I'm a little bit type A, I want to know where I'm starting and that I have enough room evenly spaced between each line and then I have everything straight. So I just kind of figured all that out there on the fly. I am using my ruler to draw a line where each word will go. That's how I can kind of try to keep it straight, right? And then after my ink, after I've stamped everything, then like later today, I'll go back and erase those lines. And I say later today just because things that make life sweet. Because I'm using that VersaFine Clear, that's a pigment-based ink, it will take a second to dry, so I don't want to come in and erase after I have just stamped, or I'll end up with black smear everywhere. Heather said, I'm a lazy stamper. I only stamp when I'm watching Lil. So here's the thing, guys. Here is a thing. Definitely stamping takes longer, right? It takes longer because I've got to figure all this out. I've got to stamp every word individually. So that's something to consider when you are making a title. If I was using alphabet stickers, it would go much quicker, right? I mean, I would still need to kind of figure that out where I was, doing my things. I'd still need to figure that out. Alphabet stickers would take less time. However, I would be using a lot of alphabet stickers here, right? And I would probably not have enough alphabet stickers to do my whole title. That is kind of one of the cons with stickers. So cons with stamp take a little bit longer. Cons with stickers, probably for something like this, I wouldn't have enough. Cons with stickers, I may not have the color I want. As long as I have ink, I can have whatever color I want. Cons with stickers, I may have enough letters, but I may not have enough of most commonly used letters like the S's and the T's and the R's and the L's and the E's. Cons with stamp, definitely more expensive with stickers in the short term, but in the long term, if you take care of your stamps, they're way, 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 way less expensive per use than your stickers. So there's a place for both, for sure, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So my eye will kind of be in the center, but kind of not, because, wait, 1, 2, 3, no, it has to go left of center. We're just going to start. Here's my T. All right, we're just going to do it on here. Things that make life sweet. Hello, Louisa. When did you return from your trip? I just joined, so missed it if you said so earlier. I returned on Thursday afternoon after a very long 32 hours of travel. Yeah. And the jet lag is very real. Very, very real. South Africa, 8-hour time difference, which isn't bad. But I am very much, we were gone 16 days, and so I'm still very much on that time zone, very much. Thursday night, I woke up at 3 a.m. for good, up for the day. And last night, 1 a.m. and up for the day. Yeah, so this afternoon, I'll be a puddle. The sleeping is not going so well. So I believe that tonight I will be taking a sleeping pill. Hopefully that will get me back on track, which I don't ever take sleeping pills, but I did on this trip on the long flights. So I normally don't have any trouble sleeping, but I am now. Things that make life sweet. Oh, I shouldn't be putting these back that make life sweet because I'll need to use some of these. All right, so here's the deal. I will not do all of these together. I won't. Okay, let me try that again. Ooh. I will not. I should have tested that first. I will not stamp the rest of this while we're together. Easy for me to say, because it will take a while. What I will do is I'm going to stamp the first line and the last line, and then I will finish it up later so we don't have to watch me do this. It actually will also go a lot faster when I'm not talking. My G got a little bit, it's just not quite filled in, so I'm going to take my little Sharpie and just color that in a little bit. All right. All right, so there's the top, and now I'm going to do sweet, things that make life sweet. And the reason I want to do sweet is because I may end up decorating a little bit more down here. And then we'll be able to keep playing. Kathy asks, let's see, Kathy, Lael, will you do a sneak peek of your Dear December kit? You can see it on Instagram, and you can also see it Lael by Mail Facebook page and Lael by Mail Facebook group. We'll see if I maybe pull one or two things out for you to see today. We shall see. And if you're like, wait a minute, what's she talking about? My next paper crafting collection, Dear December, goes live on Monday, the 25th. So in 2 days, 2 sleeps, at 4 p.m. Pacific time. And you can join me here on my YouTube channel if you'd like, because at that time I will be doing kind of the full unboxing. You'll see all the products, and they go up for order then. They're all in stock with the exception of one, and you'll learn a little bit more about that when I show you everything. And then also at that time, my 12th annual December documented mini book project kit will go up for pre-order. All right. That is the 12th year that I've had a project kit, and I think the 19th year I've actually done the project. And that is my hands down biggest, most popular project kit that I do every year. Second only to Year in Review. All right, so things that make life sweet. I will finish that stamping later, because I'm sure with my lack of sleep, I'll probably end up spelling the rest of those words incorrectly. All right. Tracy said, amazes me you have so many time zones in the U.S. I can't wrap my head around that. 4. In the United States, we have 4. So I was reading something at probably 3 in the morning this morning when I was not sleeping, how to get over jet lag. And it said something about for every time zone. Oh, I know. It said like maybe a day. It takes you a day to recoup for every time zone. And then I learned that there are 5 time zones between South Africa and my time zone, mountain time zone. So it will take me 5 days. Lord help me. All right. So there we're off to a good start. Things that make life sweet. Now, I just love that little girl. She's just the cutest little thing. I need cardstock over here to do my list. So I'm going back to the white cardstock that I had cut up before. Jackie, when is the next stamp and die sets coming out? Did I miss the announcement? That is mid-September. So for the rest of this year, hint, hint, they are every other month, just for the rest of this year. So September and November. Now, there are 3 stamps that are also coming out on Monday that are part of Dear December, and 1 die set. So, but otherwise, rest of 2025, they are every other month. And then into 2026, that will change. That will change. It won't be every other month. You probably know what it will be. Every month. But I'm going to try my best to pare down on the number of stamps that I do in a release, because I know every month is a lot. But that's just what we're ready to do. All right, so just cut down some cardstock here. This is, let's see, a little bit narrower than we did before. That's 3.5, and that's probably a little bit shorter than 7. So this will be my right side. And you're like, Lil, that's so white. It is. It sure is. Now, if I didn't want it to be that way, oh, we were thinking about this. Hang on, let's look at this. We were thinking about maybe doing this instead. Even though we would end up covering up most of that. Let's see if we would like this better. Actually, I kind of like that better, but there's something I need to, I don't like the way that this is like half and half. So, actually I might as well just, I'm going to keep this here. And I'm going to take this piece. I think having this piece here, it just helps to make it all go a little bit better together. I have some of that bleeding off the edge because it was too halvesies. It was too like even, and I didn't want it to be exactly even. Oh, Diane, you just got back from Croatia. So I think that may be a next year for us. I'll have to reach out to you and get some information from you on your trip. I think what we're going to do, so Nick's grandfather immigrated to the US. He was Serbian. And so our boys have always wanted to go to like Serbia, Croatia. And we're thinking we might make that a family trip and take the kids in 2027, not 2026. We have a big wedding coming up in 2026. Jack, our oldest, and his fiance, Kat, are getting married in 2026. So we're looking at maybe 2027 doing that one. So Diane, I will need to reach out and pick your brain. But anyhow, she said, really expected big jet lag. So far in 3 nights, you're sleeping great when I'm supposed to be sleeping. Oh, I love that. Jackie, will I have new stamps at Ready, Set, Create? I will. Yes, I absolutely will. But that's going to be another thing. Obviously, I can't bring everything. And if there's something that you think you want, probably better to order from me ahead of time, and then I can bring you your order there. Ashley, question, Lael, what made you decide to go on an African safari? Just curious. All right, let me have a quick sip. We're going to take a little chatting break. Let me have a quick sip. Hydration break is important, so if you haven't hydrated in a little bit, have a little bit of something to drink. Ashley, I had gone to South Africa 11 years ago when I worked for Simple Stories. When I worked for Simple Stories. And I taught at an event. And the woman who hosted the event, there was an event in Cape Town, so taught in Cape Town. There was an event in Johannesburg, taught in Johannesburg. And in between, she took us on safari. And I had the most incredible experience. Nick did not go. Our boys were both in high school, and they were playing football. And Nick did not want to miss any of their games, so he did not go. But I came back from that trip and said, Nick, we are going back one day. We are going back. And so it has been in the works for the last 11 years since I went before. And I said, we will always go back. And we thought, you know what? For our 30th anniversary, that's as good a time as any. And it was amazing. All right, so there we go. I think that just kind of everything blends a little bit better together, I think. Now, I could have also switched it. Tracy, we did go to Kachaka. Yep, Lalibela, we went to Kachaka. That's where, and we went there. That was one of the 2 safaris we went on because that's where Glenda, the woman who hosted the event that I taught at 11 years ago, that's where she took us. And that was just, yeah, my heart is there. All right. Okay, this guy, we need to soften that up a little bit, right? So we're going to ink the edges. Those of you who scrapbook, the kind of inking the edges is almost like matting your photo with cardstock. But I usually don't like to have so many layers in my traveler's notebook, so we just ink the edges. We need something pretty subtle. Let's see if we can maybe find something like that. Pumice stone. Ooh, old paper, no. Antique linen, no. Pumice stone might be it. And then we get into more of the browns, right? Pumice stone. I mean, it's not quite exact, but I think I'm going to use that. That is probably not something I use very often. Pumice stone. I don't even know where it is. There it is. Pumice stone. Let's see what we think. Joe Disney fan said that is in my top 5 bucket list trips in African safari. It was pretty spectacular. It really was. It really was. Yes, Tracy. Tracy said she loves it there on that safari. Yes. So a little bit different now that Lalibela owns it. Interesting, or guide on the safari. That one told us that Lalibela is kind of the larger reserve, and Kachaka is a lodge within that larger reserve. The woman who owns Lalibela is of the Heinz family. You know, Heinz, like the ketchup. Well, they do other things besides ketchup. Ew, Tracy, you ate a live termite. You know what's funny? I did not, but I think you're gonna say tastes like chicken, tastes like lavender. I want to say when I went there before, our guide when I was there before, offered, you know, here, have a termite. Now that may sound odd to you if you're like, what the heck? And Tracy and I are having this little one-off conversation about termites in South Africa. In that area, in the Eastern Cape, there are very large termite mounds. And so there's lots of termites. And I don't know if they're like the same termites we have in the US that like eat the wood in your house. I don't know. But interesting. They taste like lavender. See, you learn something every day. You learn something every day. And now I've probably missed all kinds of things. Carla, your son is getting married October 18th. You can't wait. Congratulations. All right, so we're just dirtying this up a little bit, right? And when I say dirtying it, just giving it a little bit of kind of that worn edge. I know me, and I know I do not like working with anything other than white when I'm doing a list. So that, just look at the difference there. I don't know, you probably can't see that. It's maybe too far away. But this is what it looked like before, super stark, and then that's what it looks like after. So it just kind of helped to bring it all together a little bit. You can do some, I mean, that's not necessarily amazing. Ooh, uh-oh. All right, stop. I have ink on my fingers. So I have just transferred a print to my list. And gosh, hang on. Let me put this away. That's not good. It's really not good to have this out because now I just transferred a whole bunch of ink to the back of my swatches. Put your things away. Okay. That was pumice stone that I just used. All right. That little ink. Now, I'm not too worried about it because when I write my list over it, we really won't see it. But you can see I just got a little bit of fingerprint ink and ink. Oh, got it everywhere. I think what happened is I probably at some point picked up that ink from the lid or something. This is a sand eraser. So sand eraser, there's a little bit of sand in the eraser. So if I just gently erase that, it's enough, and that was faint enough that it pretty much has gotten rid of that little ink spot that I had. Sand eraser. All right, let's get this guy down. Our list topic is things that make life sweet. Okay. And like I said, I will go back and Leo, what have I done? Where is that coming from? Look what I just did. Okay, hang on. Hold tight, friends. I really need, I have no idea where it's coming from. Oh, that's awesome. Carla said, this is our first child to marry, getting blessed with an awesome daughter-in-law. Same here. First child getting married and getting blessed with an awesome daughter-in-law. All right, Leo. I promise I did not do that on purpose to show you the magic of the sand eraser again. All right. No more. I have no more, hopefully, fingerprints. All right, while I'm doing this. So, in our jet-lagged induced stupor last night, Nick and I binged watched a new very short documentary series on Netflix about The Biggest Loser. Have you guys seen that? It's brand new. Brand new. We needed to watch something that didn't require a lot of brain power. And when The Biggest Loser was on, I watched that. I loved that show. It was very interesting. Very interesting. So if you watched The Biggest Loser, back then. You might want to watch it. Yeah, it's very interesting. A lot of behind the scenes. All right, things that make life sweet. Now we need to do a little bit of decorating. So let's see what we have here. So this is that little girl that I told you that I really liked, right? Now, what if I did? I think I can put her over here. She's already there, but she's a little bit too small, and I have all this extra room. So I'm actually going to put her, I'm going to put her on there. She deserves to be more prominent on my list because that's what I love so much about this collection. I fell in love with her and the cherries and the bows and lots of things, but she is the one. And if you did watch it back in the day, Jillian Michaels is not on the documentary. She declined to be part of the documentary. Yes. Watched it last weekend. Ashley watched it last night. Very interesting. Yes, very interesting. Several of you are saying oh, I know what I did it from. I think I kept picking it up from there. Let me just look at something here. All right. So there's a little bit of a coating on this paper. You see how I just transferred the ink from the S to this? I need to be really careful here. Because there's a little bit of coating on this paper, that is going to take longer to dry than normal, like way longer to dry than normal. So that's I think maybe that's how I kept picking it up, was from that. That is not normal. So if you're working with a pattern paper that has a little bit of coating on it, be careful. All right, so we've just made her a little bit larger. Let's see what else we might want to use here. Bows, and bows. I think, well, you know what? That little, I don't know, is that a hedgehog? That little hedgehog, maybe since we made her larger, maybe we'd like to make hedgehog larger. Let's see what we have here. Pull some of these cherries out. Eau de Cologne. So it looks like you have 2 each of All the Stars Shine for You, Picking You Always. We have 2 each of all of the little die cuts in this pack. Okay, that's the little guy. I don't really like that little guy there. I don't know about there either. I think we will not use that guy. I think we might work in some of, ooh, like that could go there maybe. And then we just start our little list right there. How about that? And then this, I kind of like this little guy. This little, kind of lacy border. But I'd like it to be flat on both sides. Like this. All right. Put that there. And, all right, so we have two little, oh no, we like this one here with that really large bow. We're gonna do a bow, we're gonna embrace the bow and go all in. We've also been watching, last night was falling asleep at like 8:30. That was also part of the problem. What is that show called with Ted Danson? And he's like undercover. It's kind of a comedy. He's undercover at an assisted living facility. I don't remember what it's called, but that was good. Sarah says, I use an embossing heater to take care of that ink issue. Yeah, I don't have one of those. Actually, I probably do, and it's probably like 85 years old. It probably light everything on fire. I mean, it's not really 85 years old, but it's pretty old. It's probably 30 years old, honestly. Last man standing. Yes, Debbie, yes. It probably light everything on fire here, so I better not do that. I don't even know where it is. You don't see me doing much embossing, huh? All right. Good start here. Let's see. All the stars shine for you. No. All right. Get these little guys put away. And then I'll look at the other die cut pack and see if there is just maybe another little thing that we want to grab. Oh, actually, what about this? No, too many cherries. I mean, there's cherries there, but it kind of just makes it a little bit too cherry-y. A little bit too cherry-y. All right, 3 die cut packs. So these are bows and butterflies, and these are ephemera daydreams. Oh, there's another girl. Okay, hold on. I mean, I won't use another, I don't know, maybe I will. This other girl is just as cute. How did I miss her? You are the sweetest feeling. Huh, that's interesting. I guess I could use that. That's fun. Look at that little like fairy on a fox. Fairy on a fox. Okay, where did it go? Oh, look at her. Isn't she cute? She's darling. I mean, I guess we could do 2 little girls, right? We could. Let's do it. Why not? We're like, oops. They're cute. My stomach's starting to growl. I'm like, the food is way off. Oh, but guess what? And I don't know. I was like, I've been very good. Very, very good since January. But on vacation, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to enjoy my vacation. And I sure did. Food-wise, I mean, I didn't like go overboard, but if I saw something and I thought I want it, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to have it because I'm on vacation. This morning, way less than I went on vacation, which was very exciting because, you know, there's a little bit of a hesitancy when you get on the scale. You're like, oh gosh, after a vacation, you're like, oh Lordy, is this going to be bad? And it wasn't. So that was good. I had I was shocked. Very shocked. All right. I feel like we need something more in here. Let's go to this guy. This guy has all of the ephemera bows and butterflies. I know, right? Isn't it so cute? Wait, Last Man Standing is the Tim Allen show. Okay, then what is it? Oh, A Man on the Inside. Thank you. Yeah, I got in the middle of a conversation there. Thank you. Ted Danson is in A Man on the Inside. I know I'm like, Last Man Standing? Okay, that doesn't make any sense. That's funny. Karen Haynes. This one is called Cherry Sweet. This collection is Cherry Sweet. This is Frank Garcia. Prima. I think I like that there. It feels like we need to have something down here because we have that blue there. We need to kind of help to bring in this blue. We also now, we're just ignore that part. We kind of have our little visual triangle there going. At least that's what we're going to say. Both of those things that we watched last night, you didn't really have to be thinking too much. Finally at 9, I mean, I kept like literally, I kept looking at the clock and it was like 9 o'clock, 9:01, 9:02, and I kept falling asleep. And I like, how is it still only, 5 minute, like 2 minute increments? And then I'm like, Nick's like, come on, we're done. We're going to bed. I'm like, okay. You want to put her here, maybe? This little guy here? Yes. All right. If you're doing this list, things that make life sweet, or you're not doing this list, what would be on your list? What would be on your list? What are things that make life sweet? Oh, that was funny. So I just looked over here. I looked at just briefly glanced over here to see what I had written. And I looked down here. This is our next list. And Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan is on our next list. But I looked and I'm like, Hulk Hogan? Yes, things that make life sweet. On my list, Hulk Hogan. That's our next list. These are sure cute. These little guys. Puppy stickers. All right. I think what I need to do, I won't do anything over here now. I think I need to finish my little title and then I'll know. I'll need to add something else down here and I think it'll be a word strip sticker. But I won't work anymore on this side until I get the rest of that title done. I think that would be a wise idea because it's incomplete right now. All right, so things that make life sweet. One of the things on my list is just because flowers. Flowers that are just because, right? Just because flowers. I need a bullet stamp. Let's see what we would like to do. Let's see. There are some little fruits here. You know what could be cute? That's an apple, but I don't think you would notice. I think it could be a cherry. Let's use that. But I won't use red. I think, oh, actually I do need to use a color. I can't use black. The reason I can't use black is the whole purpose of a bullet stamp is to separate the things on your list visually. And because this is a little outline stamp, I gotta move this out of the way. Because it's a little outline stamp, it won't have much substance to it. And so you won't be able to see. It'll be really hard to tell the difference between kind of the separators on my list. All right, so let's do, I guess we could do red. I don't know, I don't use red a lot in stamping. Sometimes it just seems like it's really harsh to me. Let's see. Oh, you'll have fun doing that tomorrow, Paige. Louisa. Lisa's going to the Frank Garcia studio tomorrow. Paige Evans having a workshop. Oh, that'll be fun. You'll have so much fun doing that. Have you been to his store before? It's a really cool store. It is neat. All right, so red. Red is probably one of the colors that I think, especially in the oxides, they're so different. So if you have a red and you think, really, how many reds do I need? You'll really notice a difference in the reds. Candied apple, a little bit more orangey. Barn door, now we start getting a little bit more red. Crackling campfire, now candied apple's even a little bit more corally. Crackling campfire, a little bit more orange. So if you think I only need one red, well, when you start to see it like this, festive berries, maybe a little bit more of a blue tone. Lumberjack plaid. See those differences? This might be lumberjack plaid. Fired brick. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different reds, but they're all so different. Fired brick, I think. I think fired brick is what we want to go with here. All right. Fired brick. This is also why I think it's a really good idea to swatch. Because look at the difference. I mean, I don't know if you can tell the difference on camera, but this, if I were to look at this, I would never pick that to go here. But once I see it actually swatched, then I'm like, oh yeah, no, I like that. That's the one that goes here best. So you just get a different perspective when you are swatching versus trying to judge a color based on a little, tin or plastic or whatever that is. All right, let's look. Oh yeah, so it really is an apple, but no one will know. It looks like a cherry. It'll be a cute cherry. All right, things that make life sweet. In no particular order on my list, they are, oh, here it is. Just because flowers. Right? Flowers are nice. I love flowers. I love fresh flowers. But just because flowers, they make life sweet, right? Sometimes Nick will come home from the grocery store and he's brought me just because flowers. And there's just something a little bit more special about just because flowers. A song that puts me in a good mood. I love music. Song that puts me in a good mood. I almost put music there. I love music, and so I get in good mood lots of times if I'm listening to music and a good song comes on. Face, timing, with Vicky. We live very far apart. 2 different countries and almost 2 different coasts, right? Vicky lives the east coast of Canada, and I live in Utah. So west-ish, right? Not coast, but, and so we don't see each other very often. So it just, when we FaceTime, it just makes life sweet, right? It just feels like you're together. Finishing a great book. I'm going to say reading. Yep. Reading a great book. I read a lot on this trip. A lot. Lots of flying time. And then I left my Kindle at the hotel in Cape Town. That was a bummer. But then I read on my phone, my Kindle app on my phone. But reading a good book, that just makes life sweet. A relaxing morning in bed. Not at 1 a.m. though. At a decent hour. Not at 1 a.m. That's not relaxing. Well, if I was sleeping, it would be relaxing. What else? Oh, creme brulee. Creme brulee. That makes life sweet. I love creme brulee. What else makes life sweet? Happy Meal. Just Happy Meal. Oh, Mimi. Is Mimi here? No, I don't think so. Mimi sent me, this was so sweet, for my birthday, the Jelly Belly brand of candy corn. It's becoming candy corn season, my friends. Yeah, so that was what a fun little Happy Meal package to receive. I need to email Mimi that. Otherwise she'll think I'm a brat. Well, that's not why I need to email her back, but Amy said, check your mail today. You should have Happy Mail today. Oh, yay, I love it. I love it. I love Happy Mail. Thank you, Amy. Oh, getting comfy clothes on at the end of the day. I'll say this. Comfy clothes at the end of the day. You know, you just get your comfy clothes on. I don't know what your comfy clothes are. They could be pajamas, they could be sweats, they could be lots of different things. Louisa, Lael, did you enjoy sleeping through the night while on vacation? No Reggie to wake you up? I most certainly did, Louisa, absolutely. And then guess what happened? Last night, 11. He woke me up at 11. So, Lael goes to bed at 9, gets woken by Reggie at 11, and then is up for the day at 1 a.m. Yeah, so I'm a little punchy. Oh, fresh, clean sheets. That makes life sweet. Freshly cleaned sheets. So this could be things that make me happy, things that make me smile, things that put a smile on my face, simple joys, things that make life sweet. Hearing from an old friend out of the blue. I heard from an old friend out of the blue. I'm going to take a quick sip here, hydrate for a second, and then I'll tell you the story. Because I've told this story before, part of it. Okay. So I've told you guys that I have a very different background. I've been thinking about this. I've been saying forever that one day we're just going to do one night, maybe we just need to do like a chat. And I'm not working on anything, and we're just, cameras on me, and we're just talking and answering questions and things like that. So we will do that at some point. Because I think that would be kind of fun. Just chit chat back and forth. But I have a very not broad. I have a very different career. I've done a lot of different things. I worked for AT&T for 8 years out of college, and then I started a software company with 2 other guys. And we were working, so I was like 30, so young, and I was in a very male-dominated industry, insurance. lots of suits, lots of corporate, lots of huge insurance companies. And we were pitching our software to an insurance company. So all these men, executives come into town and they're in their suits. And we are in the conference room. And I'm the only female. Now, I am a partner. There are 3 of us that are partners in this software company. And I'm the only woman in the room. And so we're all sitting at the conference table. And one of these insurance executive looks at me and he goes, "Hey, Lael, would you get me some coffee?" And I just looked at him and I'm like, I didn't even know what to say. I didn't even know what to say. So the guy that was president, the one of the guys that we started the software company with, he immediately jumped up and said, "You know what, I'll get that for you," because he knew. So I bring all that up because he's the guy that I heard from out of the blue the other day. On my birthday, he texted me and he said, "Happy birthday, Lael." And you know what he said? He said, "Hopefully you're not making coffee for some insurance blowhard." So just, that's things that make life sweet. And it was so, I'm like, oh my gosh, Greg, I tell that story all the time. But that was, oh my gosh, you guys, that was 20 some odd years ago. And he remembered that. So that was kind of fun, hearing from an old friend out of the blue, right? An unexpected upgrade, right? When you're traveling, you get an unexpected upgrade. That's always what makes life sweet. An unexpected upgrade. I'm just about done with this list. A beautiful sunset, right? I mean, I don't know, is there such a thing as an ugly sunset? A beautiful sunset. And then my last one, birthday wishes. I have lots of nice birthday wishes. All right, so there we go. There is the right side of my list. There's the left side. I will put the right side in. Actually, let me just do this very quickly. Oh, well, I was going to add the roller date stamp, but I'm not going to do, where is it? Where's the roller date stamp? I don't know. I will add the date later with the roller date stamp there. I will finish my title later, and then I will probably put word strip sticker here. In fact, I think we can do that now. Let's see. So I always say if it looks like something is missing, like I've got all this space here, word strip sticker is the answer. So let's look. We'll pull a blue. This is from Small Talk. Let's see. Those who don't believe in magic will never find it. Actually, I like that one. Because this is just kind of, it's almost like if you're not looking for things that make life sweet, then you won't find them. You won't see them, right? We've got to sometimes look. Sometimes we really have to look. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to, obviously it won't fit, so I'm going to trim this into 3s. Those who don't believe in magic will never find it. So if you're not looking for things to make life sweet, the good things, then you're not going to find them. Sometimes we really have to look, right? Sometimes we really have to look. Some days you might be like, there's nothing. Life is not good. But sometimes we gotta look. Gotta find them. Gotta seek them out. Oh yeah, no, I don't like it there. Okay, we're good for now, right? Once I stamp the rest of that, then we'll see if there's anything I add beyond that. All right, so I am going to put that page in now though. And then we'll keep letting that other one dry. Now, Sarah, I think, mentioned a heating tool. So if it's not drying, then I can go find my heating tool. But that's the case where you don't want to use something that's not intended for paper. Like you don't want to go get your hair dryer, okay? not meant for paper. You could cause some damage, so don't do something like that. All right, we're just gonna move all this stuff out of the way. Put it in front of a fan. Let it sit for 2 days. Don't use a hairdryer. I just need to grab a tray here to put all those die cuts on. I'll put them away later. And then we will move on to our next list, our last list that Hulk Hogan is on. All right. So our last list is in the news. In the news for July. Creative Cindy, you should do a hidden pocket. That would be fun, right? It would be fun to do that. It would really be really fun. Some of those stories, right? Like we all have good stories, but a lot of times we just haven't like documented them. A list of all the times that I was treated in that industry like a female. You know what I mean? Yeah. All right, so this one goes in here. And then, like I said, I'll finish stamping, let all of that dry, and then I'll put that right there. All right, our last list is in the news, and it is in the news for July. In the news is a list. There are a series of lists that we pretty much do on a monthly basis. About last month is one, glimmers is one, what a day is one, and in the news. So in the news, I was talking about last month, that about last month list that I started doing 5 years ago. So that is where I add photos and just make a run-on list of things that happened during the month. Back when I started that list during the pandemic, we did that list for 3 years, 2020, however long the pandemic lasted. Seems like an eternity, right? But when I was doing that list during the pandemic, let's be honest, especially in the early days, there's not a lot that we were doing on that list, right? Maybe it was the things we were watching on TV, there just wasn't a lot because we couldn't do a lot of things. So back then, when I first started doing that about last month list, it was a mix of things in my life and in the news. And there was plenty, but I had enough space to do both in one list. Well, when things started opening back up in the pandemic and we started, doing more things, I didn't have enough room to do about last month and in the news in the same list. So started breaking them apart. And I've been breaking them apart for quite a while now. Here's the thing with in the news. In the news, we commit to each other not to have any conversation about any news. So the things that are on my in the news list, I will obviously be writing them down. One of the things will be that Hulk Hogan passed away. Now, I won't add any commentary about Hulk Hogan passing away. You may like Hulk Hogan, you may not like Hulk Hogan, but we don't want to add any commentary, me personally and anyone in the chat, because news can be divisive, especially when it comes to politics. So anything that's on my list, it's on my list. It hit my radar, may not have hit your radar, but we commit to each other that we're not going to do any commentary. It's just the facts, all right? When it comes to the items on my list, lots of times people will say, where do you get your news from? I've put together a Word document, or I guess a PDF, a couple of years ago with a whole bunch of different news sources. And they are emails. So you can, on any of these different news sources, go to the websites and say subscribe, and they're all free. And they will send you emails about the news. Now, there are maybe, I don't remember how many, 6, 8, 10, I don't remember how many on that list. They run the gamut. Some are left-leaning, some are right-leaning, some are more center. It doesn't matter which ones I subscribe to and get my news from. It doesn't matter which ones you subscribe to and get your news from. I did my very best to try to get all perspectives covered with news in the United States. I did not actively seek out entities that were providing global news. All right. So if you're interested in that, You will find that on the blog post for today's listing session. There's a link to that. And if there's one that you subscribe to and I don't, great. If there's one I subscribe to and you don't, great. We don't have to, debate all the news sources. Yes, Joe, just the facts, ma'am. That's all it is. Just the facts, ma'am. Okay, what's going on? Internet, no sound. Let's see. Can you, okay. Some of you won't be able to hear me. Hopefully it's not all of you. If you would pipe up in the chat very quickly and let me know if you can hear me. And those of you that can't hear me, this will not help. So let me know if you can hear me in the chat. Okay, good. All right. So I'm just going to do this very quickly. Let me come to this one. Oh, do I have a dry erase marker? Yes, I do. Hang on. So if you can hear me, bear with me. While I do this really quickly to help our friends that cannot hear. I just need to find a dry erase marker. Oh, here we go. All right, so. If you can't hear me, it is on your end. Close YouTube and try coming back in again. And this goes for anyone if this ever happens, all right? The other thing is, or press pause and let it buffer for 30 seconds. Then press play again. All right. Now, hopefully people can read that. If you are cutting in and out. Also, if you are cutting in and out. All right. Okay, good. All right, friends, thank you for being patient. If you could hear me, we always feel bad when some people are affected. I mean, always feel bad when everyone is affected, but when some people are affected. If everyone's affected, it usually means it's me. But if not everyone's affected, then usually that means it is on your end or their end. So anytime, if things start getting staticky or they start getting slow, those are things that you can do really in any case. All right. You can tell I've run into things like that before. That's why I have a little dry erase marker there. All right. So we were talking about in the news. So I am going to do something a little bit different here. I was, for the life of me, I cannot find, I know it's here, but I cannot find my travel junk journal. I know I had it with me on whatever trips I went on last, not the South Africa one, I didn't take it with me, but I was going to pull it out and show you what I do in my travel junk journal. And a lot of times that is cut up parts of magazines and things like that. So when I'm traveling and I'm collecting brochures and, tourist magazines and things like that, I cut things up and I use them in my junk journal for travel, which I love to do. And we've done something like this a couple times, but it's not out of a tourist magazine. It is out of, or brochure, it is out of one of the two collage books that I have on the website. So this one is even more extraordinary things to cut out and collage. And the other one is this guy. extraordinary things to cut out and collage. So basically, they are books that you are cutting out things to use in your projects. So as I was looking at this one, I saw this little lady holding like this TV. And I thought that would be really fun to use for in the news. So that is what I'm going to use. So these things, you are literally cutting them out. They're not stickers, they're not die cuts, so you are cutting them out. Amy has just linked that in the description box of the video. Thank you, Amy. So we'll cut this guy out. It's just like I'm cutting it out of a magazine or a brochure or something like that. But the nice thing about having a book like this is, I don't know, what did it tell us? How many? Oh, over 1,500 images. You kind of have one book with all your things instead of having to, you know, go find a whole bunch of them. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to just very quickly kind of go around the outside here and get most of my cutting done. And then I will come in with fussy cutting scissors. So fussy cutting, if you're not familiar with the term, that is when you are either cutting something out of, well, I guess really in both cases, you are cutting something out of something else, right? Sometimes we fussy cut shapes or flowers out of a pattern paper. In this case, we're fussy cutting this little lady. I know she doesn't have a head. You'll see what I'm going to do to what I'll put on top of her head. But fussy cutting, you're fussily cutting something from something else. So my first step when I do that, I try to get in as cute as I can. Sorry. Tracy had just typed in the chat, that is very cute. I try to get in as close as I can with a small-ish pair of scissors, right? So small-ish. Then I want to come in with my smallest scissors that I have. Those for me are my fussy cutting scissors. So these are fussy cutting scissors. You'll notice they look very different than a regular pair of scissors. A regular pair of scissors, I have a lot of, I'm using my fingers, obviously, but I have to open and close them pretty far, right, in order to get those blades to move. With fussy cutting scissors, they work very differently. So these guys just sit in the palm of my hand right here. There's a little raised edge there. My thumb goes there. There's a little raised edge on the back side. My pointer finger goes here. And I am using little tiny movements to make those scissors work. All right. So these are, if you like to do a lot of fussy cutting, or you don't like to do fussy cutting, but you do it, these are great scissors for that. If you have arthritic hands, these are great scissors to use because, as you see, you have you're barely using your fingers in order to cut. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of come in here and cut away that excess. And when you're fussy cutting, regardless of whatever scissors you're using, it is much easier to keep your hand steady and move whatever it is you're cutting. So you can see I'm using my left hand to rotate what I am cutting, and then my right hand just literally is barely moving, just barely. So these are my little fussy cutting scissors. They're powder coated, so they are very nice quality. They're not like scratching, or, you know, the coating on them is not getting scratched or anything like that. It's funny, I keep looking at this lady. She looks like she has really hairy legs. And she doesn't, I don't think. I think it's just the, you know, it's just the artwork. I guess the shadow in her legs. I don't know what it is, but she looks like she's got really hairy legs. She's got stiletto heels on too. In this one, they're table of contents. And so when I was looking for an image that I wanted to use, I went to the chapter like telecommunications or something like this. And I saw her and I thought, that is so much fun. So we're going to use her. And then I found this paper. This paper from Vicky's Cut and Paste collection. And as I was going through looking for a piece of paper that I wanted to kind of do my list on, well, I saw this and I'm like, oh my goodness, look at the center of that TV. So I'm like, that just like works perfectly. So we're going to cut this down. Marianne said the cutting book is cool. Yeah, I think it's fun. It's just, it is just kind of a fun way to, well, it's kind of junk journaling, right? But it's a fun way to bring some totally different types of images into your projects that you would probably never find in the type of product that, you know, like paper crafting product. I'm very drawn to that style. Very, very drawn to that style. Like I said, I use that a lot in my junk journals. All right, so I know I'm trimming this to, I need to trim it to 8 inches tall. So let's look and see which end we want to trim from. If we trim here, I don't know, I feel like we need to go from this end. Ooh. Nope, I think we better go. There's no red in here. Well, yeah, there's really no red-ish, not quite like her dress, but I think we'll go from this end. Or we could probably go from both ends. How about if we do this? How about if we trim a little bit of this off, like 2 inches? Now let's see what it looks like if we go to 8. Well, that's not really helping me. That's funny. Yeah, that's lack of sleep, friends. There we go. So we've got more blue in there now. I think we'll cut off a little bit more of this. I just like to have a little bit of that dark in there. There, we've got a little bit of dark in there. All right. There we go. And now I want to make this 8. 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8. No, sorry, 4 3/4. Yeah, that lack of sleep, being up since 1 a.m. is going to get me here soon. All right, so this is what is happening over here. And then this little gal is going to be over here. All right, so I feel like what I need to do here is we may do another 4 3/4 here. And I think we will do one on each side. Like that. And then we're going to work off the page again. Then we will take where is it? Boy, I've got a lot of these down here. The dot grid paper. Or no, that's not dot grid, that's graph paper. So that's my Lail by Mail graph paper. Comes in 6 by 8 and in 12 by 12. So we'll cut this down again. And this will be, let's see what size we want to make this. Because I only need it on one side. No, I need it on both sides. All right, let's see what this is. Because I need 2. 3 3/4 by a little bit more than 7. Oopsie. I'm just going to make a mark. There. And there. So one side will be my list. The other side will be that little lady, that little gal holding the TV, the headless woman. And we'll know where we're going to put her in a minute. And we're not going to do any kind of inking because we really don't need to, because there's lots of color there. Where did my Sharpie go? Oh, there it is. Kim Create. Hello, Kim Create One. Enjoying today's listing. I haven't been able to join in a while. Well, it's fun to have you here. So my last two lists, I used plain white cardstock, but I had a lot of kind of other things going on. Pattern paper like that. It's still white, but it just gives it a little bit more visual interest, right? Just a little bit. Just a little bit. If you missed me earlier, and you have not seen my emails and you have not seen on social media, Monday at 4 p.m. Pacific time, you want to come back here to my YouTube channel because I will be launching, revealing, debuting, unboxing my next paper crafting collection, which is called Dear December. So it will go up for sale that day, but you want to come see it. All right, so my start of In the News. I am going to grab the In the News 2 stamp set. She didn't have a head, Karen. She did not have a head. Karen, that's how she was in the book. Lots of really interesting graphics in those extraordinary things to cut out in collage books. So that's kind of what makes her fun, right? She just looks totally different. So I'm going to grab this one, this news stamp, and it is going to go right there. That's her head. All right, that is her head. Shannon said, that looks so cool. So I don't know, sometimes when you guys comment, I don't know if you are where I am because Carolee is now saying I can hear you. So Carolee is a little bit further behind. This look, I love to cut things out of magazines. I have so much fun doing it. But you have to have a lot of magazines in order to get a really nice broad range of graphics like that. That's where those books really come in handy. All right, so what color do we want to do? I'm thinking kind of down in this area, maybe this blue. Let's see if we can find that blue. Or something that's similar to that blue. Ooh, Mermaid Lagoon would be that next one, but not quite it. Salty Ocean, Stormy Sky, Blueprint Sketch, Faded Jeans, Prize Ribbon, Chip Sapphire. We're getting too dark now. So let's see. Faded Jeans, Prize Ribbon. I don't know. I feel like we should do Prize Ribbon. Let's do it. Prize Ribbon. All right. Now, with that guy, I need a... Does that work? Yeah, it does. Right sizing my stamping block to my stamp, right? We want to get our stamping block in as close as we can to the size of the stamp. It just makes it so much more manageable that way, right? Then I'm just hanging on to that. Oh, Creative Cindy, the body with the news head. I like it. Kind of fun, right? Let's see. I can tell, like my synapses are not firing, or they're firing in all the wrong directions. I don't know. The no sleep is catching up to me. Wait a minute. want to get that nice and coated. And it's not, there we go, maybe. All right, let's see. All right, now we need to figure out where this is going before we, all right, if this is, I'm just gonna make this little line right here. That's where I wanna line it up. But I don't want her on there. I don't want to accidentally stamp on part of her. So when Nick and I were out of town in July, we were on a trip in our RV. I had a fun idea for a new product. I was working on something, and I had been cutting all these things out of magazines. Nick had gone fishing, and it was raining, and I was having a grand old time. And I looked at the table that had all these things all over them. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I just had a new product idea. So it's not quite in the works yet. That's a little bit crooked, darn it. Not quite in the works yet, but something fun. Something fun, I think. Drink some water, it will help, I know, right? I'm like, woo. All right, nice and solid and all right, let's clean this guy off and then we'll add our little lady. She has a head. News is her head. Right there. It's kind of fun, like a little different, right? A little bit different, but ooh, fun. Sometimes you gotta mix it up a little bit. And I always say this, and I said this earlier, there's only two things you need to play. Something to write with and something to write on. After that, everything else is icing, right? You don't have to spend a lot of money to play. You don't have to spend any money to play. You could literally get old magazines, get brochures when you go to a hotel or when you're in an airport. Go to those little wooden stands that have all the little touristy things and just start picking things up. It doesn't matter if you're not going to Legoland. Grab the brochure. There's probably things that you can cut out of the brochure, maybe a little map of California, or maybe the title says a great day, or I don't know, whatever. Those are the kind of things that you can cut out and then use in your projects without costing you any money at all. Now, if you don't want to do that, then there are books like the one I used that I have that can make it a little bit easier, but you don't have to spend money to do things. All right, so now this is in the news, and this is for the month of July. So I think I need to add July right here. July. Let me grab, I think what I'd like to use. My back is to you, so apologies for a moment while I'm looking through my stamp drawer for the stamp that I am looking for. It could be that, I don't want to use that one. It could be this, or it could be, hey, hang on. Reggie Alpha Large Lowercase Solid, right? It is the same font as News, so it's a little bit smaller. I will stamp July up there, and I'll stamp it in the same color. So there's a little bit of consistency or continuity. As I use my stamps, I am pulling them out of the stamp storage sleeves. So I store all of my stamps, whether they're my Lail by Mail stamps or any other stamps in my personal stash. I use them in stamp storage sleeves. So this is one of my products, and I have them in 6x8s, 5x7, 4x6, 3x4. It's just a nice, consistent way to store all of your stamps and dies. I put my dies in there as well. But you may have noticed that I have, in all of these, as I pull things out, I have white cardstock behind them. The reason I have white cardstock behind them is you have the plastic of the stamp storage sleeve, and then you have the plastic of the cover sheet on the stamp. Sometimes those will stick together. So if I just grab that little white cardstock that I add from the back and move it into the front, it breaks that little kind of stickiness, and then the stamp pulls right out. So if you've been watching me do that, that is what I've been doing. I just haven't kind of explained as I've been doing it. Come on. Okay. So July. J, and we can do this way because it's a short month. If it was August, I would not be able to fit it, right? So sometimes when we do this list, it's just, things are just, kind of sad and depressing. For the most part, I don't put a lot of politics on my list anymore. It doesn't matter what my political beliefs are. It doesn't matter what any of our political beliefs are. If then you're in the US, it's very divisive. There's just a lot going on, right? There's a lot going on. So the heck did I do there? There we go. I try to stay away from some of those things just because I could, a whole traveler's notebook insert for every month could be filled with political news. So that's just something I've changed a little bit in the last, I don't know, probably 6 months or so. And that's just what I do. You can do whatever you want. All right, different size. Now, will that one fit? Yeah, it's close enough. Whoopsie. Again, I'm doing all these letters individually. I prefer to have, oh, hang on. I need to think about this because I prefer to have I like my letters to be close together. And I can only, if I were to put all of these on one stamping block, I can only get them so close together because there's a little bit of material, a buffer, around the letter itself in this case. So I like to do the letters individually as opposed to the entire word on one stamp block. All right, that one is a little tight. Get a little bit of ink on my finger now. All right. So I made just a little mark with my pencil so I would know where I want that to go. And that will go right there. Hi, Joanne H70. She said, popping in, loving the sneak peeks of new Christmas December collection. Oh, I'm glad you are loving them. There's so much to share. Like, I have barely scratched the surface, and we haven't even looked at the paper yet. Paper, I'll show, well, actually we have. Maybe one of the very first sneak peeks I showed was just from the press check, when I did the press check on the paper. But I'll show another kind of version of another sneak of the paper tomorrow. And then one more image on Monday morning, and then Monday at 4 Pacific time is when it goes live. And it's all shipping now, except for the die, the coordinating die. There's a little bit of hold up with the die, but everything else is shipping now, which is awesome. Awesome. Shelly Lee, what kind of ideas do you have for people who don't travel much or have children? I would love to try these, but not sure what for. Shelly Lee, I have the perfect free class for you. Here on my YouTube channel, there is a free class on how to get started creative listing. And I give you tons of ideas, lots of different topics to to start with. We have done more than 500 lists over the last 5 years, more than 500. So lots of different ideas. Because, right, not everybody is like me. I mean, I love to travel, but I don't do a ton of travel lists. But I think you'll find some good ideas. And then after you watch that class, maybe it's like 40 minutes, so it's not super long. If you have more questions after that, shoot me an email. And then maybe give me a little bit more information, and then I would be happy to give you some more suggestions. Yeah, that is a class that I have needed to do for years because I get so many questions. People say, how do I get started creative listening? I want to do it. I'm very intrigued, but I don't know where to start. And I say, well, just start. And then people look at me like, really? Like, that's all you're going to give me? Yeah. And I'm like, okay, I oversimplified it. But yeah, I give you lots of ideas. And really the ideas that I give you, anyone could start. I think I give you like maybe 5 or 6 different list topics that really anyone, it doesn't matter if you travel, have kids, it doesn't matter if you're young or old, or if you're super crafty or not at all, or they're really generic ideas. And Amy just linked that. Thank you so much, Amy, in the chat. So Shelly, if you are still here, click on that link and it should take you to that class. All righty. I would really have liked it if they were a little bit closer together. See, I'm weird when it comes to that. I really like my things way close together. So there's a little bit too much extra room there, but that's okay. I'm just going to use this little period, this little dot to end my sentence. Where's my... So funny when Nick and I were all this time together. Ooh, okay, hold on. On our trip, I forgot to put the apple cherry away. One of the things that has happened after doing these lives for all these years is that I have to talk to fill the space, right? I pretty much have to always be talking, always saying something. Otherwise, you're just sitting there and you don't know if you lost me or you don't know what's going on. So I'm always talking, which has translated into my real life. So I am always talking to myself, always, always, always. And so Nick and I just spent a lot of time together over the last 16 days, right, on our trip. And so we'd be in the hotel room and I'm like, oh yeah, I need to do it. I'm just talking to myself. And he's like, what? What are you saying? And I'm like, oh, nothing. I'm just talking to myself. And it happened over and over and over again because I'm in that habit now. I just am constantly, even, during the day by myself. I'm just talking to myself all the time, but it's out loud. Lots of us talk to ourselves in our head, but for me, it's out loud because, because I'm just used to doing it out loud. All right, so now let's add our little period there. All right, news July. In the news for the month of July. Kelly Dugan and Shelley must know each other. Kelly Dugan said, Shelley, I have all 3 of her books if you would like to borrow. Yes, Shelley, and I should have brought that up as well. There are 3 different idea books, Listing with Lael idea books. The first one is the list that we created during the first 3 years, 2020, 2021, and 2022. And then I had the idea, I'm like, I have all this content, I really should do something with it. And that's when we created the first idea book. And then we do an idea book now every year. So the idea book is all of the lists that we do during that period of time. And so more ideas, topic ideas, along with also kind of design ideas as well. I've got that blue all over me. All righty, so now I think we're just about ready to start. Oh, we're not. We're not, because I'm going to do something really fun. So I knew I wanted to put this little lady over here, and I knew I needed to do my list over here. And then I'm like, well, what about photos? I usually like to add photos with my in the news lists. So I'm like, photos. How am I going to add photos? And then I'm like, yes, I know what I'm going to do. So we need to get that part next because there's really no room to add photos here, right? I feel like we need another little line here too. We're going to make room. All right. So I need to put these into my insert right now in order to do my next step. So let's do that. Right is easy because it's flat. Nothing has happened after it yet. But we need to do something a little bit different on this side because we're working with gravity. Anything that's here is going to want to pop up. So instead of my regular adhesive, I need to use score tape. Score tape much stronger, and I specifically need it along this straight edge. That would be the right edge of the left page because that's the part that is going to want to lift up because of gravity. But I'm just going to do all of it this way. So the nice thing about score tape is that it's super strong. The not so nice thing about score tape is that it's super strong. What I mean by that is once you put it down, it is not moving. And so if you get it crooked, well, guess what? It needs to live crooked because it's so strong. If you try to lift it back up again, it's going to make a mess of everything. So the way to work with that is to just peel off, I don't know, maybe a third of the release paper. Okay, like that. So I revealed a little bit of a sticky, but not much. What that's going to do for me, I've got ink all over my hands, is to give me a little bit of wiggle room when I go to adhere that. Because only part of the sticky is exposed, all the part that's not exposed is going to make it so that it doesn't stick until I get it placed where I want it to be placed, and then I can press it down. So I should be able to get it fairly straight that way. I'm going to rotate both of those. Easier, I'm right-handed. So we're going to get it over here and then look over here. Does that look good? That looks pretty good. All right. So now I press down the parts where the sticky's been revealed and then gently pull out the rest of that release paper. And we have a nice straight and nice, really secure oopsie, we just lost part of that in there. All right. The reason I needed to do that is because I should say these are my photos. Kelly and Shelly, that's so cute. Kelly and Shelly know each other through scrapbooking. We live in the same city. Oh, I love that. I love it. Hello, Bridget from New Zealand. All right. Zen Girl said, letters close together. I didn't know how much I liked them that way until I saw you doing it. You know what? You don't really realize it until if I were to put all those in the same stamping block, to me it looks odd. And it's just a personal preference thing, but it seems like they're so far apart. All right. These are the photos. So I just pulled these from Google. These are some of the things that are on in the news list for the month of July. And I'll go through these as I make my list. What I'm going to do with this is a 5x7 photo. So I printed that on 5x7 photo paper. I've printed that with the Epson PictureMate PM400 printer. That is the printer I use for probably 95% of all of my printing. It is a little powerhouse. It prints 5x7s, 4x6, and 3.5x5. The power, I think the magic in that printer comes with the free software that goes with it. And that is the Epson Creative Print app, right? So that app is available Android and Apple. But the app does some really cool things. It has a whole bunch of pre-configured templates. This is one of the pre-configured templates. So I go in and I say I want to do a 5x7 photo, and I pick the pre-configured template that has space for 2, 4, 6, 8 photos. And then I access my camera roll through that app, and I just put those photos into those places. There is another free class here on my YouTube channel. If you have that printer, or if you're looking at that printer, I show you all the really cool tips and tricks that the Epson Creative Print app, things that you can do with it. There's some really cool things that you can do with it that you may not know. Anyhow, what I'm going to do with this, first off, I'm going to cut this in half. I do this sometimes with the 5x7 and this particular template. I'll cut it in half so that it looks like photo booth strips. All right, so this is 5, so if I trim it to 2.5, that's in half. So now I have 2 fun photo booth strips. Sometimes I create pockets and tuck those into the pockets, but I'm not going to do this time, right? I don't have space for a pocket here. I've got my cute little lady over here, and I need to write my list here. I don't have any rings or anything that I can open up and then put photos in, right? This is bound together. I can't do that. What I can do, first of all, let me do this. Let me adhere these back to back. Make sure they're both right side up. I don't want to do one guy upside down. So I now have a photo booth strip that is double-sided. All right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create a tip in. Tip in is when you take something and you tip it in to the center of your traveler's notebook insert. All right. So I'm going to tip that in. So it's kind of has a little hinge here, right? It will, my page will just flip back and forth. What I'm going to use for that is a really cool tape called tip-in tape. So tip-in tape, this is something that you'll find on my website. It is a clear matte PE tape, PET tape or PET tape, okay? It is awesome. You can do this same kind of thing with washi tape. But the problem with washi tape, there's a couple of problems. Number one, if I do this with washi tape, I'm going to cover up part of my photo on both sides. Another thing with washi tape is not necessarily meant for something like this. So if you are doing something like this and you've got a lot of action, like this page going back and forth, your washi is meant more for decorative purposes, not necessarily a functional purpose. It's not really meant to hold things in place and have a lot of movement. So that's when I use tip-in tape. I am going to cut this tip-in tape to the length of my photo, which is 7 inches. And I'm going to cut 2 of them. So I have one on the front and one on the back. Now, it's hard because a lot of times things that are in the news, at least things that are in the news that hit my radar, are kind of sad and depressing. But I like to, it's just one of the things that I like to document every month. If you have lots of good news and you want to record good news, you could do that. Earlier this year, Crayola, the crayon company, brought back some of the colors that they had retired. So sometimes you have, I don't know, I'm straying from my just the facts, right? But sometimes you have things like that that are, you know, a little bit more uplifting than some other news things. All right, so with this tip-in tape, it is split. So I have a backing that I can pull off half of it, but the other half still has the backing on it. So I'm going to pull that off, but I've only pulled off part of it. And the part that I have pulled off, I am going to adhere to that photo. Like that, all right? So you'll see that back is not sticky, just the half that I pulled off. It's a little bit too long. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to now pull off the other half. And I'm going to tip that in to the center of my spread here. Like so. So it's clear and it's matte, so you don't see it. There we go. There's my little tip in. That's pretty awesome, isn't it? It is not one of my products. It is Lauren Phelps. It is her product, but I have them. You can find it on the website. And Amy has included a link to that in the chat. So now I want to do the same thing on the other side. And really, I should have actually done that before I tipped in the first part. It would have made it a lot easier. Would have made it a lot easier. Now, I don't have to do both sides. I like to do, oh boy, that's where it's going. Yeah. I like to do both sides because it's a little bit more secure that way. So if you missed what I just did there, this is why I really should have done this before I tipped it in. I accidentally got it, it stuck higher than I wanted it. And when I tried to pull it off, it started pulling off some of the ink from the photo. So it just ended up going where it is. Pull off that other half. It would have made it way easier, trust me. Do this, get that adhered before you tip in. Makes life a lot easier if you do it that way. So I've used this on a lot of different projects in my traveler's notebooks with lists, adding photos, adding a little bit of more journaling, or, you know, if I needed to add more words, things like that. So I did that pretty quick, but it's just kind of a fun way to add something into, otherwise something that makes it really hard to add something to. That's a lot of somethings, right? Let's have a quick hydration break. Kelly said, I'm having to order 2 more rolls because my daughter has realized she can add tons of pictures to her junk journal, travel journal. Yes, I know, right? It's pretty awesome. It's a pretty awesome product. I'm like, why didn't I think of that? Why didn't I think of that? I mean, like I said, you can use washi for that. The problem with using washi is that it covers up part of what you are, you know, what you're adding. Okay, I mean, what you are, yeah. All right, so the things on my list for in the news for July. I need a bullet stamp. Let's see what we'd like to use. Oh, we could do this. I have in Bullets and More too, there's a little TV. That kind of works with what she's holding, right? There's that. That's in Bullets and More too. There are some larger, and they're not really bullets, right? But there are some larger little images in the news stamp set that I'm, you know, kind of working with. So if you wanted something larger, you have those in that stamp set. I think I would like to. Breaking news, just the facts. So what if we did, I think we'll do, let's do this. Let's do this definition down here, the newsworthy definition. We'll do that down at the bottom here in that same blue. And then I'll do something else on the other one, on the other side. Ooh. We just test this really quick. Oh, that was, golly, that was totally upside down. If you missed it, I've been up since 1 a.m. and the night before up since 3 a.m. So it's got a little jet lag going. But again, that's why you always test. So I would have done that upside down and been very sad if I had done that. Okay. Oh. All right. We need to talk through why I have to do this. So I placed that stamp in the center of the stamping block, and that was not a good thing. Let me clean this off, and then I'll show you why. I need to clean it off because I have to move it. So I don't want to try to move that when it is, don't want to move that when it's got ink on it. It'd make a giant mess. All right, let's do this again. Get it right side up. And now I'm placing it so it is more left justified. The reason I need to do that, when you start to get later in your traveler's notebook insert, if you're using a traveler's notebook insert, or if you're using maybe some kind of journal, or maybe one of the Archer and Olive books or something like that, and you can't take the page out. The deeper you get, the more volume you have over here, right? So when I had my stamp centered before, as I was getting ready to stamp, I could tell I would be in trouble because centered, this part is running into this height over here, which would totally mess up what was happening over here. So I repositioned, and now when I stamp, I don't have that problem, right? So those are things that you just, you know, the more stamping you do, that you sometimes recognize before you put your stamp on the block. But if not, I realized right away when I went to stamp that, I'm like, oh yeah, that's not gonna work. Okay. Ideally, I would have done that stamping before I put that page in. It just would have made it a lot easier. But I had to get that page in before I could do that guy. Oh, Lordy. Hang on. I've got this blue everywhere. What did I do with my whites? I think I'm probably maybe picking up some blue from that too. The washi does look distracting too sometimes, right? Kate, hello Kate, said finally getting to use my Timmy Alpha and Destination Unknown NPS stamps and the oval die. I love that. Yes. That's such a fun stamp. That was from Stamps and Die. That was from our July release. All right. Okay. Now, hopefully my hands are clean now. No, I'm probably going to just transfer blue ink all over again. All right. Clean that off. Put that back on its sheet. And let's see if we want to do one more. One more. Over here. But now it might be a little much. Although, I think it'll be okay. Just the facts. Just the facts. Let's do just the facts. Does it fit there? Yes, it does. Just the facts. All right. All right. I love this font. We have an alpha in this font that's called Olive Alpha. I'm just going to do it. I shouldn't, but I'm going to do it anyway. Okay, there we go. Now we're ready for our little TV set. Okay. And I need my stylus. Get that TV on there. I've got blue all over my hands again. All right, little TV set. Okay. We are now ready to start our listing. On my list, in no particular order, just the facts, not giving any commentary. We have a couple of celebrities passed away. So Hulk Hogan, Ozzy Osbourne, and Malcolm Jamal Warner, Cosby Show. Well, I know he did other things in that, but that's how I remember him. So Hulk Hogan, Malcolm Jamal Warner, and I had him as, I would recognize him as younger. And then, Ozzy Osbourne. So those photos, obviously I didn't take those photos. I just go to Google and I look for photos and then use them. Save them in my camera roll and then throw them into that Epson Creative printout. All right, this one's a little bit longer. Brian, where are we? B-R-Y-A-N, Brian Koberger. Pled guilty to fatally stabbing for U of Idaho students in 2022 and was sentenced to 4 consecutive life sentences. And rather than giving him any coverage, I guess, in my list, photo-wise, instead of including a photo of him, I chose to add a photo of the 4 college students. All right, next up, we have a couple having an affair was outed at the Coldplay concert. That might seem an odd thing that I would have in the news, in my list, along with the photo. But that was like internet, like memes, all kinds of things. Like so much stuff was going around about that from in the news in the month of July. So I thought that crossed my radar, right? May have not crossed yours, but crossed my radar. So on my list. Oh, devastating. Fires in 2 national parks. The North, trying to read my writing. The North Ridge of the Grand Canyon and the Historic Lodge and the Black Canyon of the Gunnison. Black Canyon of the Gunnison National Park. Nick and I were there in, my gosh, I don't know, it's been a lot of travel. June? Maybe June? Tracy said, blue ribbon isn't my favorite oxide, but it looks stunning. Prize ribbon. It's a beautiful color. It is a beautiful color. Coldplay on my bucket list. Oh, Marion, yeah. We've seen them once. I will, one of the things on my bucket list is to travel to South America and see them in concert there. If you ever see any coverage of their concerts in South America, it's crazy. It looks like so much fun. Speaking of, when we left on our trip, we flew from Salt Lake to Paris, and we stayed in Paris a couple of days. And the reason we wanted to stay in Paris a couple of days is because Paris and South Africa are on the same time zone. And so we thought we'll go to Paris first, kind of acclimate to the time change, and then we'll fly to South Africa. Guess who was on our flight to Paris? Post Malone was on our flight to Paris. That was kind of fun. Nick, so one point Nick got up to go to the restroom, and the Post Malone, I guess it was really early. Well, we hadn't taken off yet because of this reason. Post Malone was doing a FaceTime with like the flight attendant's son or something like that. And, to say hi or whatever. And Nick went to the restroom when he was coming back, and he just said, hey man, that was really cool. And so Post Malone gave him knuckles. So he's like, hey, thanks. So that was kind of fun. We have, in our family, we have some weird things with Post Malone. Post Malone lives in Utah. He lives about 15 minutes from our house. Now, we do not, I need to make this very clear, live anywhere near in the same neighborhood as Post Malone, okay? Nowhere near. I don't want you thinking like live like rock stars. But, and it's kind of a well-known thing, that where he lives in Utah. I don't know, maybe 3 years ago, our younger son Sam was in New Zealand. One of our nephews was working there for a year. So Sam went with our other nephew to go visit. And a couple days before they were leaving, they go into this dive bar in Queenstown, I don't remember. Anyhow, go into this dive bar. And there's like 5 people in this bar. And there's a guy sitting at the bar all by himself. And Sam says to his cousin, "That's Post Malone." And his cousin says, "Sam, just because someone has tattoos all over their face doesn't mean it's Post Malone." And Sam says, "That's bleep Post Malone." So Sam, because he's his mother's son, walks right up to Post Malone, like there's 5 people in the bar, and says, "Hey, excuse me, are you Post Malone?" And he says, "Yes, I am." And Sam says, "Oh, I love you," and da-da-da-da. Sam says, "Can I buy you a beer?" And Post Malone says, "Sure." So Sam has a beer with Post Malone, and they chat. And then Post Malone finishes beer, and Sam says, "Can I buy you another beer?" And Post Malone says, "Sure." So they're talking, and Sam says, "Oh, I have this tattoo on my thigh of something about Post Malone. I don't even know." And then Sam says, "Hey, you know what? I live like 10 minutes from your house in Cottonwood Heights." And now Post Malone is like, oh, like, thinking that maybe Sam's stalking him. And Sam's like, no, it's okay. I just happen to be here and da-da-da, whatever. So we feel like we're best friends with Post Malone. We're not, but... And you know how I found out about that story about Sam? Because I wake up the next morning and I'm on Instagram, and there is a picture of Sam and Post Malone on Instagram. And I'm like, oh my gosh. All right, anyhow, I totally digressed there. Coldplay. All right, what else do I have on my list? I'm actually just about done. An 8.0 earthquake occurred on the east coast of Russia, triggering tsunami warnings across the Pacific. And I don't have room for oceans, so across the Pacific. All right, so there we go. That is my in the news list for the month of July, with my little lady there, my headless lady, but we gave her a head by stamping news from In the News too. Just the facts. Used Reggie Alpha, that's a mouthful, Reggie Alpha large lowercase solid to stamp July, and then did my little thing there. So when we look at the photos, those are the 4 college students. That is a photo of the historic lodge in Grand Canyon National Park burning down. That is the couple that was out at the Coldplay concert. Just waves, because I couldn't really find a tsunami, so waves. Black Canyon of the Gunnison Fire National Park, and then Hulk Hogan, Malcolm Jamal Warner, and Ozzy Osbourne that passed away during the month of July. All right, friends, so there we have it. Now, someone at the very beginning said, "Hey, Lael, would you show us a sneak peek of your Dear December collection?" And I said, maybe, but I will show you. I'll show you one thing. Now, there's all kinds of sneak peeks. This is going to be a big sneak peek. This is going to be a big one. There are all kinds of sneak peeks. I think 3 or 4 so far on my Instagram and Lael by Mail Facebook page and Lael by Mail Facebook group. Monday, the 25th at 4 p.m. Pacific, I will do the full reveal and unboxing and show everything here on my YouTube channel. This has not been shown yet. This I'll show on social media tomorrow. part of it, but this hasn't been shown yet. This is the cover sheet to the papers. There are 14 double-sided papers. So you'll get a little snippet of all the papers that you'll see here. That is, well, I should say those are. I'll give you a good idea of all the papers in the collection. Some 12 by 12s, full 12 by 12 with patterns. And then lots of little cut aparts for your pocket page scrapbooking, for my December documented mini book project kit this year. All right, you guys, I'm so excited. I can't even tell you. I'm so excited to share the rest of that collection on Monday. All right, and then it will be available for order on Monday. All right, friends, I am going to flip the camera. And I am going to say our goodbyes. Yes, Kate, thank you. Kate said, great color palette. Very traditional red and green. I don't foresee that I will ever stray from that. I will continue to do, oh, hold on, hang on. I will continue to do, I know I'm really close there, sorry. I will continue to do a Christmas collection, holiday collection every year. It will be very different every year, but it will always, I'll stick with traditional red and green. That is what I look for when I am doing my paper crafting. That's what I look for. I've looked for in the past when I am picking products for my December documented, my December daily project. So I will stick to classic red and green. Now that doesn't mean I won't throw in a couple of other accent colors. There's a light blue, very subtle accent that you can see there. And then there's a tiny bit of pink, teeny tiny bit of pink behind Santa stripe and a little tiny bit of pink, but very classic red and green and bright and fun. And I can't wait to share it. It's definitely a labor of love. It's a huge, well, it's not huge. It's not huge in the grand scheme of other manufacturers. It's just Lail manufacturing, right? So, but 14 double-sided papers, so 28 patterns, 4 different die-cut packs, 3 different stamps, 2 different sticker sheets, and a partridge in a pear. And I'll tell you this. Actually, I don't know. Maybe I'll just show you one more thing. For those of you that have like silhouette, or you have a Cricut, there are cut files. So there will be a cut file bundle that you can purchase, 5 designs, but they're in 2 sizes. They are in 2 sizes. This is one of them, just so you can see. That fits a 6x8. All right, you see that little space there for your holes? That fits 6x8. What you might be more interested in, some of you here, there's a traveler's notebook size. Fits your traveler's notebook. So you'll see it still has a little border there, and that's so you could put your tip-in tape, right? So look, you could do this, right? And then that little thing could just flip back and forth. All right, so I just did those in black. I cut them all out in black so they'd be really easy to see when I show them on Monday. But I foresee, for my own personal use, doing those in pattern paper because I think it could be really fun in pattern paper. But there are 5 different designs. And if you don't use a silhouette or a Cricut, you can even do the PDFs and just print them out and then use them in your projects as well. So very excited about that. An album. So Glorianne, interesting question about the album. The album was designed and all ready to go. And when you are working overseas, so everything that there's washi too, I forgot that. Everything but the washi in the collection is all produced here in the US. Certain things are very difficult to manufacture in the US. Washi and the album. So album, we were all ready to go. That was probably April, May, because you have to work well in advance. That so happened to be the time when the tariffs between the US and China were at 145%. And what that meant was if I had albums produced in China at that time, I would have to pay 145% more of what the album cost me to make. So let's just make it easy. Let's say it cost me, oh no, I've got to do math, right? Let's say it cost me $10. I'm just throwing out a number. Let's say it cost me $10 to produce the album. I would have to pay an additional almost 15 more dollars to get the album in the country. That would be tariffs that I would have to pay. The manufacturer, the factory doesn't pay that. That would be tariffs that I had to pay. So that would put the cost of the album in that example at almost $25, which imagine what I would have had to then sell it for in order to make that work. So I had to make the really difficult decision. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it because I couldn't pay 145% more of what it would cost me to make the album, because I'd have to pass some of that cost on to you guys. So last year I did my own album. This year I am not doing my own album. I am using the Ladybug album from Doodlebug. So beautiful album. It'll be great. It's super generic. And you will see a sneak peek of that project. It's not done yet. It's a huge project. So you'll see a sneak peek of that on Monday when I do the reveal. So hopefully next year we'll be able to do an album again. I don't know though. The tariffs are, yeah, it's an unknown. It's just an unknown, and just a business decision we had to make at the last minute when it came time to pull the trigger to have it manufactured. All right, you guys, thank you. Thank you for joining me today. I had so much fun. It's been 3 weeks since we did our creative listing. That's too long, but I was out of town, so we didn't have a choice. Speaking of that, we will be listing again this coming Wednesday, which is the 28th, I think? 27th. Whatever day it is. Hang on. Let me look. Let me look on my watch. I can't do the math. I haven't slept. That would be the 27th. We're listing again this Wednesday, the 27th. I don't remember. I think it's 5 p.m. Pacific time. An email will go out on Monday, so watch for that. Because we will not be listing next weekend. It's Labor Day weekend. I'll be out of town. So that is our plan. I would love to see you here. I'd love to see you here on Monday when I do the reveal and unboxing of the new collection. If I don't see you, hopefully I see you next Wednesday for another creative listing session. And if not, I hope to see you, I don't know, somewhere, sometime soon. Let me check the chat and then we'll go from there. Hi, Gabby. You must be at a Lizzie retreat, yes? Yeah. All right, just let me check. TK, can't wait for the reveal. Mary Tran, there is a stamp sneak peek in the Layla by Mail Facebook group or on my Instagram. You'll see that, I think, 2-1? I don't know. You'll see it. Marilee, I'm glad you had fun. Midweek listing, yes. Terry, you like the colors Doodlebug, but like the inserts in the Simple Stories albums better. Yeah. I just, this year went with Doodlebug. More white, easier to work with on the cover for what the collection looks like than the Simple Stories. So you've got plenty of paper. Trust me, we've got plenty of paper to make our own fun inserts. Thank you, Amy, for joining us and popping in all of the links. Thank you. Heather said, sleep well tonight, crossing the fingers. Please. Let's see. All right, my friends, that's it. Thank you for joining me today. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend, and do something fun. Do something fun for yourself, okay? You deserve it. Something fun. Put your feet up, read a book, have a little treat, whatever it is, but do something for you today. All right, thanks for watching, guys. Bye-bye.